I can't do it. We'll do it live. Okay. Do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
Time to rise and grind.
Are you kidding me? Holy on smoke!
And let's get this banter going.
It's bacon!
This is Snowman in the Morning.
Does anybody else feel like a fried egg?
And it begins now.
I want you to get up now. I want all of you to get up out of your chairs. I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell,
I think I just broke my chair. He did what?
Has anybody ever told you you have a serious impulse control problem?
There is but one cause for me to follow. Almighty the Bum!
And here we go.
Oh, yeah!
Good morning and welcome. And I'm going to stretch my voice upon the misadvice of my wife. She said to rest it, but welcome to the Friday edition of Snowman in the Morning. And got a lot on the plate for you on this Friday. Cole Johnson, not once but twice today, talking about why the Astros scandal is good for baseball. Keeler's K's will join me to talk some more baseball. This will all be during hour one. Hour two will feature the playmaker talking some college hoops. Darnell Solins joins me. I beg your pardon. And also part of hour two will feature a great segment that I did with one Trey Larkins, and we like to call it Next Level Sports. Matter of fact, Next Level Sports will be hour two. Hour three will have the playmaker, and it will feature Keeler's K's, and also it will feature a segment I love having on the show, the Bronze Sexual Confessions. You'll hear all that today here on the Friday edition of Snowman in the Morning. I want you all to do me a favor, give a follow to the RTF Sports Network, one of our great show syndicates. Follow them at rtfsportsnetwork.com. And also Full Press Coverage syndicates our show. Give them a follow at fullpresscoverage.com. Also, you can find this show's podcast version on all of your favorite podcast apps, including Google Play, iTunes or Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and soon we will be returning to iHeartRadio as well as TuneIn. And I want to thank all the fans that have followed us on especially the RTF Sports Network and FullPressCoverage.com. And before I forget, we are now in Phoenix, Arizona. This show is now being reached in Phoenix, Arizona, courtesy of KSRN Arizona Casual Sports. And my good friend Earl made that happen. And it's so nice and it's so wonderful to be on in Phoenix, Arizona. And all you have to do to hit them is log on to ksrnaz.com. So those are our three major affiliates. We have Full Press Coverage, we have RTF Sports Network, and KSRN Arizona, and wherever you can tune into us. Gave you everything that's happening on tap. And since my voice is about to go out, I'm going to take a short break, and I'll come back with an interview that I had a chance to do earlier in the week before my voice decided to act stupid. Matter of fact, I'm being told something different, and thank you to Dr. K for this. Everything is all about the Astros. Everything is all about the bad that it is. But Cole Johnson says the Astros scandal is good for baseball. And thank you, Dr. K, for catching this. I nearly took a break when I shouldn't have. But Cole Johnson, the man who hosts On the Daily and Cole Sports, you hear him 6 days a week. On the Daily precedes this program, says the Astros scandal is good for baseball. Here he is to explain why.
We've been hearing a lot of ruckus in relation to the Astros science-stealing technology scandal and scam and scheme and plot. And we have heard a lot of vitriol in terms of the displeasure that has been aimed toward the Astros. We've heard from the Angels' Mike Trout We've heard from many different pitchers from the Yankees. We've now heard from the Dodgers' Cody Bellinger. And we will hear from number 23 of the Lakers a little later on this subject as well. We've also heard some weak apologies spearheaded by the owner of the Astros, Jim Crane, and we have heard the reason why Major League Baseball is not stripping the Astros of the 2017 World Series championship, in the commissioner, Rob Manfred, saying that basically it would be taking away, quote, a piece of tin, close quote. Now, that's not something you should say to the prize that your sport goes after. After all, I mean, after every end of October or early November, all 30 teams wants to be the one that hoists that piece of tin in the sky to say that they're the best team in the world of baseball. Right now, that trophy resides in Washington, D.C. But all of these things has coalesced, in my opinion, to the perfect storm for Major League Baseball. And why do I say that? Am I saying that the science stealing scandal, and try saying that fast 4 times, of the Astros is a good thing? No, the science stealing scandal is not a good thing for any sport, any team, anytime, anywhere. I'm not saying that is the good part. No. The good part is the attention that the sport is getting. Think about this. Think long and hard about this. When have you heard many people talk about Major League Baseball in any way, shape, form, or fashion so much at this time of the year? You hear that silence? Yeah, that silence means it hasn't happened for a long time. Let's try 10 years ago. Let's try 20. You may have me there. After all, that was around the time you had Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa try to best who was going to usurp Roger Maris in the singular season home run record. So you had that race in 98, and then you, of course, had that race in 99 as well. That was similar. And so you had the interest in baseball that you hadn't had at that time since before the strike. And even before then, I'd say probably the 80s. So I would say, the first time in roughly 15 to 20 years, you had eyes on the sport in ways you didn't have it before. Well, one steroid or / asterisk era scandal, and it pretty much deflated the whole sport. It basically was in the doldrums. It settled into being the number 3 sport in the United States, far behind the NFL, far behind the NBA. Major League Baseball was the sport that people barely talked about until July. And then you talked about it a little more in September. But by then, you're thinking more about the NFL beginning. Well, the Astros have been on the lips of everybody. And I do mean everybody. Within the sport, in other sports, and outside of sports, all this month. And it is a good thing because now there is attention on the whole sport. Follow me here. Think about all of the scandals that have happened, and baseball is riddled with them. You had the Black Sox scandal, the turn of the 1920s, where you had baseball players who were suspended. Well, of course the league was hurt for a little while, but then you had the uprising, and I do mean uprising, of one Babe Ruth, a guy who could just hit moonbeams for homers, and then you were good to go there. Or how about even going a little further forward? How about the Pete Rose betting on baseball? That was in the late 80s. That was news almost every day in 1989 until the commissioner at the time, Bart Giamatti, decided to ban him for life. And then, of course, you have the steroids era that happened 15 to 20 years ago. In my opinion, those are worse than the Astro sign stealing scandal. And the reason why I say it's worse is because the damage that was inflicted on the sport was far more far-reaching than this one. Now, here's how it could be far-reaching. You saw the elaborate way all of this was set up by the Astros? There has been talk that guaranteed at least 9 other teams have done it, and we already know one of them, the Red Sox, have been outwardly guilty of it. And for those who are saying, well, you got to punish the Astros harder. You got to strip them of their championship. The reason why they haven't done it is because you got to strip the Red Sox of theirs in 2018 as well, because they were proven to be guilty of the same thing. All right, so since I'm actually going there, let me address it this way. MLB fan, this is for you. You want to know why you all are griping about the punishment that the Astros received or the lack thereof? It's because it doesn't matter what punishment the Astros were going to receive. You're hungry and you're salivating for your pound of flesh. You can have Major League Baseball give the Astros the death penalty. You can have rotating suspensions with all the players, both former and current. You can actually even suspend Mike Fiers, the whistleblower. You can suspend him. Suspend every player that was on the 2017 team. And for those who retired, ban them from life. And then you can have them come back in 2021 and you can have them legally be beamed with hit by pitches. Just be dotted with 75-mile-an-hour curveballs to 100-mile-an-hour fastballs. And it still would not be enough. You know why? Because you want more. That's just the sickening nature of the punitive feel that human beings have. You can have the worst punishment heaped upon somebody and you still want more because it still is not enough. Well, yes, I am an Astros fan. I make no bones about it. I love my team. I love the Astros. But am I proud of this? No, I'm not proud of it. But am I going to abandon this team? No. I've been rooting for this team 40 years. I'm not going to stop now because there's a scandal that's afoot. I mean, why don't you ask the Patriots? Why don't you ask Patriots fan? Well, you discovered that there was Spygate. Would you quit rooting for your team? They'd say, heck no, they wouldn't. And why should they? Because they were at the time rooting for the team that is the best in their game when Spygate happened. Right now, Astros fan, let's be completely forthright. The team that is presently constituted is the deepest in talent in Major League Baseball. Why would a diehard stop rooting for them? I wouldn't, and I'm not. But I'm also not going to sweep under the rug the fact that what they did is unconscionable. It's unconscionable. And it's inexcusable to boot. This is when Major League Baseball has to be on its P's and Q's. This is when Major League Baseball has to show us all that you are adults. This is when Major League Baseball has to show that this whole league is more than one team. Now, we can say, well, we have the hatred for the Yankees, but it's a sports hate. We have I guess you could say a running laughing affair with the Dodgers because they get close to the championship, but they don't win it. We have a growing respect for the Cardinals. So we have, a growing disdain for the Red Sox, although they still feel as though they're underdogs. They now are the perennial favorites. You have those things that happen, but you consider that to be normal. The villain, the black-hatted Astros, this is not the norm. This is an exception to the norm. And so now, MLB, you have all eyes on you. You don't have the same type of eyes that you normally have. The scrutiny is tighter. The anticipation is greater. The onus is for the product to stand out and stand up. Now, what are you going to do with this extra attention? So a team decided to skirt the rules. Okay. Show us all, and I'm addressing this to the players. Show us all why you all are the best at what you do in the world of baseball. Show us why this sport is the best it can be, and show us the best parts of this sport. Because quite frankly, if you want to just straight up go and dot and hurt physically Astros players with pitches that go errant in the night, that quite frankly is showing us all the worst in your sport. And it's something I expect. What I don't expect is something that I believe you should want and believe in, and that is the best in you. Show us why. Show us why baseball is the greatest game that you know it could be, and show us why this is the national pastime. You have the scandal. Now prove that Major League Baseball can be above the scandal.
Wow. Never thought of it that way. And me being a sports talk host, I wanted my pound of flesh also, but I'm glad I waited. I'll piggyback on this on Monday. I got to go to a break. I'll be back in a little bit. And thank you, Cole Johnson, for that. Back in a flash.
This is Snowman in the Morning, where true sports talk lives.
He did what?
I did not need to be told that.
All right, folks, it's time for Keeler's K's. Why is that, you ask? Because Ricky Keeler is on the hotline with me, and we're going to strike out some people. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing good, Snowman. I unfortunately don't have a piece of metal to give you, but I hope it'll be a good segment otherwise.
Oh, man, I think it's going to be a great segment. Keeler's K's every week, talking baseball here. And let's begin with the obvious pink elephant in the room. That's the Houston Astros. Now, I've had opinions all over the place, but I haven't gotten yours. Now I'm going to. The floor is yours.
Right out of the gate, Snowman, I thought when I looked at the punishment, I was like, what else could Rob Manfred do? I mean, $5 million was the maximum fine for an owner. He took away first-round draft picks. I thought they should have took international money away, too. And when you realize, look, the MLBPA just has so much power, there was really nothing Rob Manfred could do. And then you look at how non-contrite the Astros are. We talked about it last week, the fake apologies. But we didn't really cheat in 18. We didn't need cheating to win in 17, although Manfred said this week that they did cheat during the 17 playoffs. And you know what? I'm not one for taking titles away because what does it really mean? But you know what? Just because of how non-contrite they've been, I kind of want to take it from them now. I kind of want to say, you know what? You made us do this. You weren't apologetic enough. The players are pissed. Everybody's pissed. We're taking it from you. Here's the problem. We now know the Red Sox are being not reinvestigated, but some people are being re-interviewed, and we still don't know when that investigation comes out. Maybe next week. So if Manfred takes away the 18 championship from Boston, he kind of has to take the 17 championship from Houston. So they're in a no-win situation. Tony Clark gets some blame too in this because yes, he has to represent every player, but all the players are angry at him. All the players are angry at Rob Manfred. Mm-hmm. Rob Manfred stupidly calls it a piece of metal. And the one thing I didn't like, Snowman, this week when Manfred was on with Carl Ravitch last Sunday, and he said we had the intestinal fortitude to release these results, even though they weren't pretty. You want us to pat you on the back because you actually, I don't know, told us what you investigated?
Yeah.
Like, come on. That's like me. That's like saying, oh, I'm going to only tell you if I didn't find anything.
Right.
Okay. I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt, Rob Manfred. Go right ahead. Come on. Like, what is, like, all these teams saying, oh, we told baseball 2 years ago. Where was this? I get it. It's bad for the sport. You can't hide these things. It just makes it worse.
And Mike Fiers should be at the center of this. And in a way, he was until the investigation got started. And all of a sudden, Mike Fiers disappeared. What is wrong with that picture?
I've heard David Ortiz today saying, basically calling out Mike Fiers. But if Mike Fiers told people in the A's clubhouse and the A's went to Major League Baseball and Major League Baseball doesn't say anything, and the Yankees go to Major League Baseball and Major League Baseball doesn't do anything, I don't really then blame Mike Fiers if Mike Fiers goes to the Athletic and says, oh, yeah, we've told baseball about this, and baseball hasn't done a dime about it. Mm-hmm. So really, Mike Fiers is kind of like the fourth or fifth elephant in the room, not the first elephant. So I don't see where the blame from Mike Fiers comes in this. If the Astros are playing the A's first week of the year in Oakland, I hope Mike Fiers gets a standing ovation in that game.
Oh, boy. A's and Astros, the first week of the – you know what? There's been an over and under line established now that I've been informed by a couple of people of how many Astros batters will get beamed throughout the season. You know what's coming. Will Rob Manfred do anything about it is the question.
Sounds like he is because he's made the case that there are going to be harsher penalties for that, which now if I'm on the team and I get warned before the series and I can't throw inside, aren't I giving the Astros even more of an advantage because I now can't use the inside part of the plate?
Right.
So even if I wasn't going to hit them, which I don't know what some pitchers are going to do, I doubt they would aim for their heads. I think that's crazy. But if you're a pitcher, I don't blame you for being angry, but but you take the under. Was it like 83.5?
Yeah.
There's no way it's going to get close to 83.5. No chance.
It's not. No, it's not. It's not. What made me laugh about this whole situation, the Astros were not contrite in their apologies. You and I talked about that. Talked about that with quite a few other people. What's making me laugh is the fact that they lost the World Series on their home field this past season to, if you think about it, of all teams, the Washington Nationals. Now, how much do you want to bet, my friend, that the Nationals are going to try to get named because they beat Houston in the World Series, and it'll be nothing but Houston fans making the claim? I don't think so. Someone put that bug in my ear, and I want to get your thoughts on it.
It's crazy because I think, look at it this way: the Nationals kind of saved the sport.
They did.
Imagine
they did.
How 5 times this would be if the Astros were 2-time world champions in the last 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
It would be awful. So Rob Manfred should thank Steven Strasburg and Max Scherzer and Anthony Rendon and Howie Kendrick for somehow stealing games 6 and 7 in Houston.
Especially Howie Kendrick. Especially Howie Kendrick for that foul pole home run in Game 7.
Which, how weird is that Howie Kendrick hit the homer off Will Harris, and Will Harris is now Howie Kendrick's teammate. I thought it's a good pickup for the Nationals, but I don't know how Will Harris could sign that. Like, wait, I'm going to sign with the team that beat me in Game 7. That's like 5 times less Kevin Durant.
See, why does everybody got to make a comparison to Kevin Durant, man? What's wrong with it? Y'all kill me with that. Keeler's K's with Rick Keeler on the program today, and let's get to our first division preview of the year. We'll get back to the Astros in just a moment, but it's time for probably the shortest division preview, which is that of the American League East, and it's the Yankees division to lose.
You'd have to say that, Snowman, but at the same time, you look at what the Yankees are going through. You get the big news on Thursday of Luis Severino having loose bodies in the elbow and the forearms getting looked at, and you don't know what Severino barely pitched last year. Now he's battling injuries, the same injury he battled appears in the ALCS. He was going to pitch with soreness in Game 7 of that series, so you wonder what might have happened. It appeared he was fine, and MRIs have come back negative, but I mean, that's a big wild card now because you take Paxton out of that rotation, you take Severino out of that rotation, and it's Cole, Tanaka, Happ, and 2 guys out of their younger players. So really their pitching takes a little bit of a hit.
But it's still the Yankees division to lose. I mean, they finally got, for the first time since Roger Clemens and Andy Pettitte, they actually got a frontline starter. And when I say a frontline starter, the two names I mentioned, Andy Pettitte and Roger Clemens. First time since those guys that they actually have a frontline starter, which of course is Garrett Cole. Are they going to try to sign somebody else?
I don't think so. I mean, Cole is their biggest pitching acquisition since you could argue CC in 09. I would say it's probably the closest thing to since Garrett Cole, but I think they also went out there. If they go out and get a pitcher right now, it's going to be like a Chad Bettis type where they just got somebody on a minor league deal that can compete for a back-end starting job because I think they trust in Cole and Tanaka enough. They trust in the bullpen enough. They still have a really good lineup. It doesn't sound like Aaron Judge's injury is too serious, and he hopefully will get back on the field in a week and start swinging the bat, so he should be fine. It is the Yankees' vision to lose, but if there's more injuries that pop up like last year, Tampa Bay is no slouch either.
True.
I think it's a 2-team race in the AL East, but I do think the Yankees have a significant gap.
How far will the Boston Red Sox sink? And there are 2 reasons I'm asking this question. 1, to get your thoughts on it, and 2, because of a very selfish reason. I have a couple of friends that are big-time Boston Red Sox fans, and they have been preaching to me all offseason, hey, the Red Sox are going to bounce back. Would you please put this to rest for me?
Well, let me ask you, if I could ask your friends this, what defines bounce back? is bounce back? I mean, what were they last year? 84 and 78.
Yeah,
they have the makings of a team that's going to go, I think, 84 and 78 again. They've got a pretty good lineup, even without Mookie Betts. You still got Benintendi, Devers, Bogarts, JD, Bradley, who's not a really good hitter, but we'll get Verdugo back at some point. The problem for the Red Sox is their rotation. Outside of Chris Sale, who do you trust? Nathan Eovaldi's battled injuries. Eduardo Rodriguez is okay. Martin Perez they added, but he's okay. They don't really have a great bullpen. Like Brandon Workman's an okay pitcher. He's not a great closer. So really with no elite closer for the last 2 years, Chris Sale's their ace coming back from injury. I don't really see the team as being more than a team that barely gets over 500. They don't really have a guy at second base unless Chavis continues to develop well because Justin Pedroia is done in all likelihood. I just don't see where the wins are coming from for the Red Sox. Maybe they compete for a wild card, but they are nowhere near the Yankees right now.
No, they're not, and I don't even trust Chris Sale at the front of that rotation because of all the injuries, which makes me glad as a White Sox fan to finally see why we got rid of Chris Sale in the first place, because now all of those injuries are starting to pile up on him.
And you don't have jerseys that you can worry about being cut up anymore.
No, we don't. We don't. We don't like that culture in the clubhouse. Who brings up the rear of that division?
Oh, it's got to be the Orioles. It's not even close.
I love it.
I feel bad for Orioles fans. I really do. But I mean, Trey Mancini is a good player. Who knows if he gets traded? You could see a guy like Michael Gibbons.
I think he's out of there. I think Mancini's out of there.
Mancini could be gone. I think their closer Givens could be gone.
Yep.
All teams are always looking for bullpen help. I mean, John Means had a nice year in that rotation last year. They've got some young players to watch. I mean, obviously, if you're an Oriole fan, I'd buy the MILB package and just watch Adley Rutschman games over and over and over again because he's the next greatest thing at catcher. They have good pieces. I would look out for another guy that Ryan Mountcastle I like a lot, one of their younger prospects, but They are still a ways away from being good. So it's really just if you're the Yankees or the Rays, the Yankees did it last year. You could practically, hopefully, win every game against the Orioles. What, like 16-3 last year against the Orioles or something like that?
Yep.
It's going to take that to get the number one seed in the American League. So really, if you want to decide the East, who beats the Orioles the most? It's almost as simple as that.
And how far do the Blue Jays go? Do they make any strides this year?
Snowman, I thought about this, and I was like, I could make a case for the Blue Jays to finish third. It's a long shot because they're coming off 67 wins. They did get Hyun-Jin Ryu in the offseason, who battles injuries. He doesn't really get to 30 starts. We'll see how consistent he is. They add Chase Anderson. They add Tanner Roark. So they have veterans in that rotation. Ken Giles is still there as the closer, so that helps. And you get another year of Bo Bichette, another year of Kevin Biggio, another year of Vlad Jr. You got Travis Shaw in the offseason who should help. Gurriel Jr. is there. There's at least a good starting block. Like, I could see the Blue Jays getting close to 500, and one guy you want to keep an eye on in the Blue Jays system is Nate Pearson. Nate Pearson is one of their top prospects. He was in, I think, got a couple starts in AAA then last year. He is a guy that lights up the radar gun. If he comes up in the second half, he's going to be fun to watch. So this is a Blue Jay team I wouldn't want to play in August or September because I think that's when they'll sort of find everything and maybe get closer to 500. They're going to be one of the more improved teams. You just really can't tell it in the American League.
Yeah, that's true. It's the Yankees division to lose. That's how we see it. How do you see it? Tweet the show. Follow us at SNW Digital Media on all of our social media platforms. Ricky Keeler and Keeler's K's joining me every week to talk some baseball as we get y'all ready for the 2020 season, and we tell you and bring you through our predictions of who will face the Nationals in the World Series. And I'm putting one big prediction out there. Thanks a lot, Ricky. I appreciate the time.
Thanks again, Snowman. Anytime.
More, I say, in a flash.
This is Snowman in the Morning, where true sports talk lives.
He did what?
I did not need to be told that.
Welcome back, folks. I appreciate you joining me here on the program. And don't forget, if you want to follow all the programs produced by Snowman Digital Media, just go to SNW Digital Media. That's snwdigitalmedia.com. And look up the ID SNW Digital Media on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Pinterest, and Snapchat. William Morgan now joins me via the hotline. How are you, my friend?
How you doing, man? Thanks for having me back on.
Hey, thanks for coming back. Normally I have him for 2 segments, but we're going to break those up later in the week. We'll get his take on the XFL and preview Week 3, and the XFL has really gotten my attention. But my focus on this one is for the NBA All-Star Game, and I got quite the pushback when I did my Snowman's take, talking about how much of a farce it has become. So to you, my good man, I open with the following question. What the hell was that this weekend?
I have no idea, but man.
What the hell was that?
Corporate at its finest, this changing stuff. I just think it's ridiculous. Can we get back to what it used to be? Can we get back to where it used to be
East
the
versus
true
West?
East versus West? Yes.
Can we get back to East?
Yes.
Can we get back to East versus West? Okay.
First of all, just for the fact that Giannis can't pick nothing.
Nope.
Giannis he sucks at picking these players. He needs like a consulting firm when it comes to picking these players, man. I mean, good grief! Look at Team LeBron. Look at Team LeBron. What team
Do we
is
have
going
to
to beat Team LeBron? I mean, now granted, LeBron is on there, but even if you take him off,
see
who's beating that team?
You know me entirely too well for you to take every question out of my head so far in this conversation that you have. Who's gonna beat that team? Really?
Yeah.
I don't see it.
And see, Guinness the Greek Freak had a chance to get some of these players, and for some reason, for the most part, he stayed with the East.
So it should have been East versus West in the first place.
Yep, it should have been East versus West. I mean, he didn't grab anybody from the West until he picked later on. I mean, dude, what are you doing?
And all the best players in the West at that time are long gone. You know LeBron snatching them. You know,
long gone.
You know LeBron snatching them. Come on, you know it. I know it. What the hell? What the?
I guess he felt that if he picked that particular team, if anything went wrong, he would be the one that could save him. But, bruh.
You know what? He could be the one that could save them if the Toronto Raptors didn't teach him a lesson in the Eastern Conference Finals last year.
Yep.
I mean, come on. Come on. You send a posse after Giannis and you force him to be a jump shooter. Now, he's added a jump shot to his game, but I just have to wonder if it's too little, too late with Giannis. And I love what he's doing. Okay, let's not get it twisted. I love what Giannis is doing with this game. I do, but still, he needs 2 consulting firms to pick an all-star team. At least for the most part, Stephen Curry got it right when LeBron was in the East and Steph Curry was in the West. And I'll guarantee you next year, Stephen Curry will be a captain again, because we didn't see him this year because he's out injured. Klay Thompson, of course, lost for the year. But I'll guarantee you, Steph will be the West captain next, and it should just go back to East versus West, will you please? Can we just go back to?
That's what I'm saying.
And here's another thing. Next year, the game will be in Indianapolis. Here's an indictment against the NBA. It's my friend Cole Johnson. You know Cole Johnson very well from On the Daily, and I've had him on this program a lot. Here's an indictment that Cole Johnson has pointed out to me, and it's so true. You mean to tell me that the NCAA can fit not one but 2 Final Fours in Lucas Oil Stadium and sell out every seat, and the NBA is relegated to hosting their game at Bankers Life Fieldhouse? Now,
good point.
Now, it could be due to a scheduling conflict. I don't know. But at the same time, you would think the NBA All-Star Game, which has hosted in Indianapolis once before, 1985, and they played it at the Hoosier Dome, and they sold 40,000 tickets. You would think you could put about 68,000 people inside Lucas Oil Stadium.
Yep. I agree.
But that's a big indictment I think, against the NBA. And people, you want some corporate de-espionage? Put it in Lucas Oil Stadium. Give the fans of Indianapolis a chance to come out and see the game.
Right.
There's not a horrible seat in the house. They will pay. They'll pay big time. Yeah. There's not a horrible seat in the house. I've been in Lucas.
They'll come out.
I've been in Lucas Oil Stadium. I've covered a game there 3 times. There's not a horrible seat in the house.
Wow. I've never been, but I know the fans will go out and support.
Easy. I mean, it's Indiana. Okay? Yeah. It's Indiana. I've lived in Indiana. My wife's from Indiana. I mean, it's basketball heaven. Why would you not come out?
If they'll come out and support the Pacers, and we're talking about today's Pacers.
Yes.
Not yesterday's Pacers.
With Reggie Miller and Vern Fleming. With Reggie Miller, Chuck Person, Vern Fleming, Rick Smits, and those guys. We're talking about today's Pacers.
Yeah. Victor Oladipo not quite where he needs to be as of yet, but they're still going out and supporting that team.
So why won't Adam Silver, and it may come down to something being done at the last minute to put it in Lucas Oil Stadium.
Yeah.
And I understand that because that's what happened in Dallas, because it was originally scheduled to be at American Airlines Arena, but then the schedule opened up and they put it in Cowboy Stadium and attracted 100,000 people. That being said, and I know that could happen at the last minute, it still, to me, is an indictment until they move it, and there's a strong possibility it's still an indictment against the NBA that they're not having it at Lucas Oil Stadium.
Let me ask you this. I was talking to a buddy of mine at work, and this whole thing with the Houston GM and the whole China issue, do you think that the NBA has gotten too political, so to speak?
Now, I'm assuming, with you being a good friend of mine on this program, you want my dead honest truth about it.
Yes. What's that?
Too political would be an understatement. Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Daryl Morey opened his mouth.
Because he said the reason why he didn't watch All-Star Weekend was because of that. I said, first of all, brother, you taking it a step too far. But I do see where he's coming from.
Yeah.
From the fact that happened. So I sort of kind of get it. It didn't stop me from partaking, but I could understand if you didn't based on that ground.
You know why I didn't partake in All-Star Weekend? I have a few reasons. I listed most of them on Monday, but I'll list a few of them now in case y'all missed it. And please subscribe to the Snowman in the Morning podcast and Snowman Digital Media so you can hear the replay of not only this conversation but my Snowman's take. Here are a few reasons. It ain't East versus West anymore. It's too corporate for me. The slam dunk contest is a joke.
Somebody got robbed.
Again, we'll get to that in a second. And then the All-Star game itself. The All-Star game itself. Now, I at this sidebar, I love Common. I love what he does. I absolutely adore Common and what he does. I met him at Chicago State University while he was getting started in the industry. And I love the fact that he did the introductions. But, and there is a but in this sentence. If you're going to do those kind of introductions, can we wipe out the stage and the staging lights and just have the teams be on the bench and have it be introduced that way, like they did in the old school?
I feel you.
Can we?
Yeah.
Can we wipe out? Can we wipe out the stage and the dancers and that kind of stuff? It's gotten to be too much.
I think so too. I think so too.
It's too much. It's too much sizzle and not enough steak as far as I'm concerned. And it's gotten that way with the Pro Bowl, but that's a conversation for another day.
I don't understand, and I guess it happened at the beginning of the 2000s, the beginning of the era, where you sort of kind of see things switch from a pure basketball standpoint to more commercial.
Mm-hmm.
Would you say around the 2000s, maybe the 2005, 2010, something like that?
2005.
Yeah.
2005 in Denver. 2005, we saw that switch happening. And it pissed me off. It upset me that they're taking basketball out of the equation.
Oh, yeah.
They're taking basketball out of the equation. And it's nerve-wracking to me. It's nerve-wracking to me. It's like some of my friends that get it, and I know some of your friends that get it, it ain't basketball anymore. The All-Star Game's not about basketball anymore. And I don't get it. I just don't get it.
I don't get it either. I really don't. Everything boils down to corporate sponsorships and that almighty dollar. Now, I will give them props in terms of renaming an MVP in the name of Kobe Bryant.
I'll give them that. I'll give them that.
But
everything else after that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and we're just talking about the game, folks. Don't let me get to All-Star Saturday night, which we'll get to in just a few moments.
Talk about a joke. Somebody got robbed.
I had Cole Johnson.
Goodness.
I had Cole Johnson on this program yesterday, and I mentioned All-Star Saturday night, and he laughed just about as hard as you did. Because the last time anyone who pays attention to history, and I know there's a lot of basketball buffs who do, the last time my hometown, Chicago, Illinois, hosted the NBA All-Star Weekend, which was, of course, 1988. And there was a fellow at the time by the name of Michael Jordan who was in the league in 1988. And Michael Jordan ruled 1988, except, of course, until June when the Lakers ran the table and repeated as champions. That being said, they did it much better in the old Chicago Stadium in 1988 than they did in the United Center in 2020.
Agreed.
Agreed. It's like there's no homage. Let me say this. The tributes to Kobe, they got right. The tributes to Kobe before the game, they got right. Everything else, they got wrong. And tell me, while we're talking about games, tell me what the hell was that celebrity all-star game they had?
I don't even know why they still do that, man.
It was over at Wintrust Arena. What? You have Stephen A. and Mike and Wilbon coaching. There's your first problem.
Yep.
You had ESPN broadcasting it. There's your second problem. And yes, I'm going all the way there. And the biggest problem I have with the All-Star game is when it went from national television to cable in 2003.
I feel you, man. And another thing too, I don't even understand why you even have a celebrity game. Most of these celebrities don't even have a game.
That's one of my gripes. My other gripe is this. Who the hell are half of these people?
I haven't heard of. I'm there with you. I haven't heard of half of them.
No, Asia Wilson, female basketball star, heard of her. Horace Grant, four-time champion, heard of him. Nate Robinson, heard of him. Darius Miles, heard of him. Who the hell are the rest of these people? Save Kevin Hart. Save Kevin Hart. Know who he is. Love Kevin Hart. Okay. But aside of the names I mentioned and a few others who participated, who the hell are the rest of these people?
Right. Exactly.
Because if it's not familiar to me, I only watched the highlights of the celebrity game, and it didn't get my attention until a rule was enacted to start the third quarter where you can add a player. And the first name I hear Michael Wilbon, who's originally from Chicago. I hear Michael Wilbon say, "I get Horace," and my ears perked up, and I turn around, and there's Horace Grant.
Yep.
Why couldn't we bring back? Okay, here's what you do, and this is an idea I've talked about for a while. You wipe out the celebrity game, and you bring back the old timers game. And the way you spice that up is you use the old timers that participated in the host city, which means, since it was in Chicago, for example, which means Craig Hodges would be back, Horace Grant would be back, hell, Dennis Rodman would make an appearance, Bill Cartwright would make an appearance. Why can't we do that?
Like if you take, outside of the health issue of some of these older guys, I would love to see some of these guys come back and do their thing.
Yes.
The thing is Dennis Rodman. I'd love to see Dennis Rodman come back.
I want to see Ron Harper come back too.
Yeah.
Now,
like I said, outside of health, we can do it.
Yeah, let's bring back some of the guys from the host city. You wipe out the celebrity game, okay? You bring back the old timers game and use some of the guys from the host city that played for them at one time or another, which unfortunately would include Reggie Theus, but that's another story.
Dang.
I'd rather have Michael Jordan than Reggie Theus, okay?
Yeah,
and the Bulls made that correct move.
Even at 55.
now to the one of the biggest farces of the weekend. And people think I'm saying this with a smile on my face. I'm not, because All-Star Weekend has been ruined for me. The 3-point contest.
Your boy Buddy Hill won, yeah.
Now, first of all, if I can selfishly say, I didn't like the 3-point contest because there were no Splash Brothers in it, because they're both out with an injury.
Right.
Second of all, there are two things that have been added to this contest that get on my nerve. And the first thing is that an entire rack of the shooter's choice is filled with the money balls, which means each shot is worth 2 points apiece. That's the first thing. Second thing that's nerve-wracking, because Mountain Dew sponsored the contest, and this leads to your point of corporate espionage, and I'm kidding as I say espionage, but all kinds of corporate hijinks. Here, I'll use that. Why did Mountain Dew sponsor 2 extra shots that actually counted as 3 points?
I don't know.
Who
and plus you brought up a good point too. Didn't mean to cut you off, but you brought up a good point too. No Splash Brothers. Yeah. Back in the day, in the early days, we had people in the 3-point contest that you actually cared about, people that you wanted to see in the 3-point shooting contest.
Yeah.
No Splash Brothers. There's really no one there.
No one for you to get behind and root for or against if you don't like the Splash Brothers. How can you not?
Right.
But there was no one of note in the contest. There was no one of note. There was no... Look, I hate to say this as plain as I'm going to say it. And this is nothing against the people that participated in the contest, like Devin Booker, Buddy Hield, who won the thing, and people of that nature. But can some of these people actually shoot?
Yeah, that's another good point.
Can some of these? I mean, back in Chicago, you had Dale Ellis, you had Detlef Schrempf, you had, of course, the legendary Larry Bird. You had shooters like that can actually shoot the basketball.
I even take you more modern day. John Paxson, Steve Kerr,
B.J. Armstrong. B.J. Armstrong.
Right. That's right.
You know, if you really want to go modern day, let's look at the 90s. I mentioned his name already, Reggie Miller.
Yep, Reggie Miller. You mentioned his name. Yep.
I mean, how about Jeff Hornacek? How about Eddie Johnson? How about Ricky Pierce?
Loved Eddie Johnson. Loved Eddie Johnson.
How about EJ? I mentioned this guy already, Craig Hodges. Del Curry. Steph's father. How about we have a father and son 3-point contest? Michael Thompson and Klay Thompson on one side, Steph and Dell on the other side. Just let them shoot all night.
Or how about we do like I think it was mentioned sometime earlier, maybe late last year. We do like 1-on-1 games.
Yeah, that works. That could be fun. And this is where you get the celebrities involved. Have them play 1-on-1 with somebody that'll smack them around a few times. Let me stop. No. I kid as I say that. Let's you draw names out of a hat, and this is going to sound wrong. And folks, I mean this as a joke, but let's have Kevin Hart match up with Rudy Gobert. That's wrong. That's wrong. Because if people draw my name out of a hat, it'll be my luck. I get matched up with Shaquille O'Neal, and I'll just go flying across the floor and head to the locker room and not come back.
But it may humble some people too, because I remember a First Take interview last year, and Kevin Hart said he's all this and all that, playing in the church leagues. Bruh. Really? We talking about a church league? We're talking about somebody who won an MVP scoring 5 points.
Okay, how?
And being braggadocious about it, bruh. I don't know. I don't get it.
I don't get it either. And now to the biggest farce of All-Star Saturday night. The slam dunk contest.
Robbery.
Folks.
Can you say robbery?
Again? Why was Dwayne Wade one of the judges?
He shouldn't have been. You there was no way in the world you were going to be unbiased. There was no way in the world that was going to be the case. And now he tries to defend himself. Like y'all act like I'm the only judge you had him at 9. Man.
No.
Exactly. Come on, man. I got other issues with D-Wade, which I won't go here, but he was just dead wrong for that. And my brother actually suggested, why not have past slam dunk champions as judges?
Thank you. Remember when they actually took away the slam dunk contest for about 3 or 4 years? But then people started crying and moaning, saying they wanted it back, and then Vince Carter showed up and acted a complete fool and won the thing going away. Where are those slam dunks?
This was no joke. And I talk about it like he's dead. He's still alive, folks. This was the man. He was the man. If you're going to go back further than that, Penny Skywalker was
Penny
the man.
Skywalker.
Jordan.
Michael Jordan.
Kenny,
Julius Irving. Spud Webb. Dominique Wilkins. I asked someone at work this morning. I asked somebody at work this question this morning. Who would you put in your ultimate slam dunk contest? And it's so tough for me because I've seen so many great dunkers over the years. But going from the time that I started watching, which would be 1980, I would have Julius Irving, Michael Jordan, Vince Carter as my three-headed monster of attraction. And the young buck I would bring in to challenge those guys would be Jason Richardson.
Ooh, I remember him. He's still playing.
That would be my ultimate slam dunk. Actually, you have four. You have the first four. The next four would be Dominique Wilkins, Spud Webb, Clyde Drexler. And the young buck I would bring in to challenge them, and here's a name I have yet to mention. How about Cedric Ceballos?
Man, you don't brought up somebody who I ain't seen in forever. And you are so right on that comment. You were dead spot on that. Man, I guess the only person who I can probably really sort of kind of add to that, someone I wanted to see, and yeah, he'll probably get tabbed. He's just a power dunk. I love Sean Kemp.
Oh, there you go. We can add Sean Kemp, and have Gary Payton throwing to him.
That would be awesome, man. That would be awesome. He's a power dunker. That's all he is a power man. Man, those dunks he did
were nasty. They were nasty.
Yeah.
Oh dear God, man, they were nasty.
Now he ate himself out the league,
but when he was in the league, he was an all-star. Give Sean Kemp his props.
Yep.
Now that the All-Star game is finished and we got that farce out of the way, the second half of the season is upon us. And the Lakers did not make a move to make their team better. And they expect to come out of the Western Conference? I think not.
And I think another thing that hurt them too, it came out today that the Pistons bought out Reggie Jackson. And he looks to be reported going to the Clippers.
He's headed to the Clippers.
Why can't you get these guys on your team to be a third scorer? Lakers fans, look, I want to tell you something right now. Kyle Kuzma ain't it. He is not it. He never has been it. He never will be it. The man scores. He does nothing else. We go lock up on defense. We're going to out rebound. We're going to pass it. Come on, man. Kuzma's not that guy. He's not. And I think there's two chinks in the Lakers' armor. They don't have that third scorer.
And they don't have a point guard.
And you don't have a true point.
Because Rajon Rondo is not the answer.
Nope.
Because the Lakers had a chance to get two very influential names that could help out their team, Andre Iguodala and Derrick Rose, and they got neither.
Got Jack.
Which is why the Lakers will be eliminated in the second round when they go up against a team that actually has a point guard, like, I don't know, maybe the Portland Trail Blazers.
Okay, not Denver.
Or the Denver Nuggets.
Out Denver out.
See,
I like Murray a lot.
I love Jamal Murray. Love Jamal Murray. This is why I said early in the year, and you were one of the few people that didn't think I was nuts when I said this. The Lakers will not reach the World Championship Series, and one of the reasons is because they do not have a point guard.
That's right. That's right. That's
So,
right. No point guard and don't have a closer. What I say, Kyle Kuzma.
Because LeBron ain't a closer. Anthony Davis is trying to be, but he gets hurt most of the time. You're basically, if you're the Lakers, you're basically one significant injury away from being a second-tier team.
Yep.
And I'll tell you this much, and I'm gonna say this out loud. The Lakers are a second-round loss away from firing Frank Vogel, because Vogel's not going to live out the remainder of his contract in Los Angeles.
Oh, heck no. That's Jason Kidd's job all the way through.
Yeah. Jason Kidd has the team competing. Frank Vogel is I hate to say this about Frank Vogel, and he was an outstanding coach with Indiana, but unfortunately in this kind of situation, especially with Rob Pelinka involved, Frank Vogel is a puppet.
Yep.
Frank Vogel
he
is a puppet living in Jason Kidd's shoes. And as soon as Frank Vogel is out of the way, which will happen after this season, y'all watch. The only way Frank Vogel keeps his job is if the Lakers win the World Championship. Yeah. That's the only way that he keeps his job. Anything short of that, it could even be the Western Conference Finals. If they lose in any series, any playoff series, including the World Championship Series, Frank Vogel's a goner.
Oh, yeah. He gone.
Frank Vogel is gone, and Jason Kidd will be installed as their coach. Yep. And he's going to be another puppet for LeBron James anyway. When you have a chance to get two very influential names, in Andre Iguodala and Derrick Rose being playing one of the positions that you need to solve, and Andre Iguodala having 3 championships under his belt, and he can give you a few secrets on how to get there, who do you think put the kibosh on those trades?
Yeah, you know it was Bron. You know it was Bron.
Who do you think put the kibosh on that?
And I think too, I think he didn't. I think because the rumor was it was Kuzma and Danny Green, and I don't think Bron would have minded if Kuzma was gone, but I think they had an issue when Danny Green that name got brought up.
LeBron needs shooters. And quite honestly, the Lakers ain't got any.
They're streaky. Kuzma's streaky. Danny Green himself is streaky. You can't count on Avery Bradley. You can't count on him. He's more known as a defensive player than anything else.
Yep.
So, I don't see how. I just don't. Maybe if they change their style of play during the playoffs and start throwing the ball down low, they are longer than almost any other team in the league with JaVale, with Dwight. They are longer. So if they maybe use some of that pick and roll style of play.
But that would be too much like Wright. That would be too much. It makes too much sense.
Yeah, it makes too much sense. It does.
It's too really logical.
Does. Yeah.
It's absolutely too logical. And we're talking about the Lakers here, a team that in the 80s lived on logic and played it to 5 world titles.
Oh, yeah. Most definitely.
You would think they would dip back into the old school and take a look and see the personnel that they have and realize we don't have a point guard. We're in trouble.
And then when Darren Collison decided to buy out and said, I'm just going to stay retired, that told me right there, they're done.
They're finished.
Right there.
They're finished. They're finished. Darren Collison took a look at the Lakers camp and like, nah, I'm good. And stayed retired. Oh, yeah. And I can't say that I blame him.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a look at a team in the West. Let's look at a team in the East that everybody's hyping up, and I don't know why. And that team is the Philadelphia 76ers.
I don't get that either. One of those guys need to be traded. I don't know if it's going to be Ben. I don't know if it's going to be Embiid. Embiid actually came on Instagram and said that he'll be amenable to it, I guess. But one of those guys got to go because one of them get in each other's way.
Mm-hmm. And Ben can't hit a jump shot to save his life.
I don't understand
Ben
that. He didn't even try.
Cannot hit a jump
Even
shot to
before-
save his life.
Even before the season started, when he was doing those Rico Hine runs, he wasn't shooting jump shots.
Nope. He's too chicken.
I don't get it. He's what, a legit 6'9"? I
6'10".
don't understand.
6'10".
6'10". Okay. I don't get it.
He's too chicken. I'll answer that question right now. He's too chicken to take a jump shot, let alone hit him.
All you got to do is get you a mid-range game. That's all you need.
And he doesn't even have that.
They didn't even got that.
What have I said? You and I have talked often about Ben Simmons over the last couple of years, even when I was in transit from Ohio back to Indiana. What have I said often about Ben Simmons? There are two major problems with Ben Simmons. His footwork is awful, and so is his jump shot. He hasn't fixed neither one of those things.
Nope. And I blame partially him, but I also blame a lot on Brett Brown because you're the coach of that team, and you have to get your players prepared and ready to go. And
he hasn't.
He hasn't done that. If you look at the games he doesn't adjust very well at the second half of these games. If they're not out running or out gunning you, they're gonna X, Y, and O you out of there, so to speak.
Yep.
And I just think he needs to go. I don't think he's the right coach for that team.
He's not. There isn't a right coach for that team. Unless Billy Cunningham comes back to life, and that ain't happening anytime soon. Unless Andrew Toney reappears in Philadelphia, and I don't think he wants to take the reins of that ball club. Unless Maurice Cheeks wants to take the reins of that ball club, and he already had one run at it and got booted out after he couldn't do anything because he had the wrong players.
Oh yeah.
So, folks. For those of you that think Philadelphia is going to make some noise come playoff time, don't. I'll just say it right now. Don't.
I think a team that needs to be looked at a little bit more than Philadelphia would be the Miami Heat. I think you need to look at those guys take those in a different light because you can argue they could be maybe the second, third best team in the East between them and Toronto. I really like what Miami's done. Pat Riley looks like he's going for it with Jimmy Butler, Andre Iguodala. It looks like he sees the light that they could actually compete, and he's going for it. If you would have told me Miami would have been the second best team in the East at the start of the season, I would have said you were crazy.
But see, the team that I think is going to represent the East would be the defending champion Toronto Raptors.
I saw that Facebook post, and I started thinking to myself, now, I don't wish ill will on anybody. I hope no one gets hurt. But if Giannis, think about it now, if Giannis goes down, the only person Milwaukee really has that you could say is a star
is Chris Middleton.
It's Chris Middleton. Yeah. So if he goes down, that does open it up. Now I don't wish ill will on anyone. I don't want anyone to get hurt. But if you look at it, that could happen.
See, here's why I say Toronto's the team to beat in the East. And for a while, I thought the team to beat in the East would be the Boston Celtics because Boston tuned up Toronto at home on Christmas Day. But Toronto has found their stride. Toronto's won 15 out of 16. And I know people would come to me and say, oh, they played, teams that are sub 500. But 15 out of 16 is 15 out of 16.
It is what it is.
Yeah. all you can do is play the teams that are on your schedule. And I know some Laker fans will give me the same argument of why they're first in the Western Conference. The difference I have between the Lakers and Toronto, with the Lakers, when they play good teams, they get the blues from them.
Yeah.
They barely beat Denver before the All-Star break, and it took them overtime to do it. When Toronto plays good teams, Toronto gives them the blues.
Yeah. Siakam is no joke, too. Siakam's very good.
Love Siakam. Absolutely love Siakam.
And he's young.
Yes.
Young.
And Nick, look, can we please give Nick Nurse the credit that he deserves now?
Yeah.
Can we please give Nick Nurse the credit that he deserves? I think it's going. My good friend Chris Purtle, who I'll have on later this week, thinks it'll be Celtics and Clippers for the World Championship. I'm inclined to think it'll either be Celtics and Clippers, or Kawhi Leonard just might see his old team in the Toronto Raptors, and the Raptors may have a message for Kawhi Leonard. Can you imagine?
A lot of things have to go right.
Right.
But that to happen.
Yeah.
But it could happen.
Yeah. Yeah, it really can. It really can. William Morgan joining me to talk all things NBA. I'll have him on later in the week to talk all things XFL and get you ready for the XFL weekend. Thanks for joining me, my friend. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me on. Man. See you later this week.
We got more coming up for you after the break.
This is Snowman in the Morning,
Holy on smoke!
where true sports talk lives.
I like him. He's silly.
Well, folks, I'd like to introduce a little something we like to call Next Level Sports. To help me out with this, and you will hear him every week on this segment, I welcome Trey Larkins of Wise Guys to the program. How are you, my friend?
Pretty good, brother. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Good to have you on. And we had a chance to talk before we started this. And this Houston Astros thing has got you really pissed off.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. It's this situation with Houston Astros, Brian. I've been very, very frustrated about it because I really feel like MLB Commissioner Rob Manfred hasn't handled it correctly.
Really?
And I don't understand. Yeah, I don't understand why he hasn't completely stripped the Astros of the 2017 title and taken their rings from that World Series. Like, I believe that Major League Baseball has completely botched this Astros scandal. And the fact that they disrespected the integrity of the sport, and I'm listening to all these interviews. Yeah, all these multiple players on these interviews, and the arrogance that Astros players are talking and saying is just very disrespectful to me. Like, I don't like it. I just think they're very arrogant. And the owner for the Astros, Jim Crane, he came out last week and he had the nerve to actually say that the scandal didn't impact the actual game. And what happened? Like, are you serious? Are you kidding me? Like, what are you saying? Because when you look at the World Series over a 2-game span, the Dodgers, they gave up 18 runs, 26 hits, and 6 home runs. And Jim Crane had the nerve to say the scandal didn't affect the outcome of the series. It made no sense to me.
Well, how can you prove that it did? This is the only time I'm going devil's advocate because the Astros did cheat and they did get caught. Yes. All right. I am not saying anything to the contrary of that. I understand how you and quite a few other fans are feeling, including Dodger fans, and I'll get to the Dodgers in just a moment. But would it fix anything? Bad word. Would it correct anything if they were to strip the Astros of the 2017 title and take the rings away? Your thoughts?
Yes. I feel like overall that because they cheated, they shouldn't be crowned as champions. You know, I also don't believe there should be an asterisk next to their name in the record book. I just believe they shouldn't be crowned champions. Their rings should be revoked because they weren't suspended going into next year. They're not going to be missing the playoffs. You know, he already said they can still go to the postseason. So there's nothing that's going to be affecting them next season. So you, at least at the bare minimum, you have to strip them of the crown and also strip them of their rings because they aren't suspended. They didn't lose any money. So
that's why they didn't get suspended. That's why they didn't get suspended. It would hurt MLB's bottom line because now you got to look at it this way. Now you have that team that you really love to hate outside of the New York Yankees, but that's the Yankees. That's another story. But now you have that team that you really love to hate, and you've got the reason for it. So none of the players are going to get suspended unless Rob Manfred really grows a set, and I don't think he will, and says, you know, anyone who was on that 2017 Astros team, you're banned, and they work a ban out, you know, over the course of, I'd say, 3 years. How would they work that out? That's my question. I have so many questions about this. How would they work out a ban? And in a way, I agree with you that the championship should be vacated and the ring should be taken away as well. But in another way, the championship was decided on the field.
Yeah, I agree. I understand that, but it was decided, and they had a decisive advantage because they knew what pitches were being thrown. So because you know what pitches are being thrown, that's part of the reason why the Dodgers pitchers, Brandon Morrow, Clayton Kershaw, Hugh Darvish, they looked absolutely terrible in the World Series. And they looked embarrassed, and now we know why.
Well, Clayton Kershaw gets embarrassed in the playoffs anyway. We can go back before 2017 and talk about that. I mean, he got embarrassed against the Mets. The Mets of all teams in the division series. As a matter of fact, if you look at, and I brought this stat up before, and you agreed with me on this, if you bring up Clayton Kershaw's last, I can't think of the word right now. If you bring up Clayton Kershaw's elimination games since 2015, he's 0-4. He's lost 3 of those at home, and he lost to teams he should not have lost to, including this past year with Washington.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. We've known Clayton Kershaw to not show up in the postseason.
Yes.
It has happened numerous times.
Yes.
Yeah, so I agree with you about that, Brian.
Right.
Overall, we're on the same page with that. Clayton Kershaw, overall, as a pitcher in the playoffs, he folds under pressure.
He's horrible.
Time and time again.
And I understand where you're going if you go back to 2017, and I understand that, but at the same time, you know, that part of it you can just attribute to Clayton Kershaw's inability to throw the correct pitch at the right time. Just ask Howie Kendrick.
Yeah, I agree with you. I just think overall, we look at the Astros.
Yeah.
I just think when you look at the Astros, Brian, I just hate their arrogance in this situation. And overall, they don't care. They're not showing any kind of remorse because the title wasn't vacated from them, so they could care less.
Yeah.
This was a collection of Astros who was guilty in this situation. They should all suffer, players included. And like I said, I do not understand for the life of me why the hell Jim Crane, the owner for the Astros, got up there and had the nerve to actually say that this scandal didn't affect the outcome of the World Series. I believe it affected the entire outcome. Now, again, I don't believe that the Dodgers or the Yankees should be given the World Series title by any stretch. No,
right.
I just
Thank
believe
you.
it should be vacated away. Yeah, it should be vacated away from the Houston Astros. They're cheaters, and they have to pay for this scandal and for this situation. And like I said, it just messed up the entire integrity of Major League Baseball.
No argument there. And this is coming from a guy whose first love was baseball, so no argument there. Now, to these Dodger fans, and you and I know a couple of them mutually, will y'all please shut the hell up about we should be awarded the 2017 World Series? Yes, the Astros cheated and it wasn't found out until 2 years later, but you got to say this. When it came time to clinch a series on your home field, you got your ass kicked. Period.
Yes, I agree with you there. I agree with you about the Dodgers overall as a team. I felt like the Dodgers blew the World Series as well. Now,
Yes.
I'm not saying, listen, we know the Astros cheated.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
The Dodgers also, the Dodgers also played a part, and they collapsed in the World Series. And again, like you said, the Dodgers had a chance to win the World Series in LA, and they didn't get it done.
Nope.
So, like I said, a part of me feels like the Astros cheated, and we know that has come to pass.
Yep.
It's true.
Yep.
But the other part of me feels like the Dodgers, they had a complete choke job in the World Series in 2017.
But it's
so they shouldn't be awarded the title either.
But it's the Dodgers. Who the hell is surprised? Let's be honest. Who?
Exactly.
I brought this stat up since 2014. You've ridden with me for the length of time, that this show has been on. I brought this stat up since 2014. The Dodgers have lost every elimination game on their home field. 2014 against the Cardinals, 2015 against the Mets, 2017 against the Houston Astros in the World Series, and 2018 against the Boston Red Sox. That was also the World Series. And this past season, they lost to Washington when they led 3-0. So the Dodgers didn't earn the doggone title either. They fold under pressure, and they've done it every single time they've gotten to an elimination game.
I agree with you. I agree with you completely. So that also was a whole separate thing in of itself.
Yes.
I agree with you. I think Dodger fans need to shut the hell up. I don't think they deserve a title either. The Yankee fans don't deserve it. The Dodger fans don't deserve it. And the Astros damn sure don't deserve it. So I just think it needs to be vacated completely. There shouldn't be a champion in 2017. And like you said, in previous other seasons, the Dodgers always fold under pressure. And even when they have the advantage of having home field advantage, they still somehow, some way come up short.
And you can't explain away the Dodgers choking away a 3-0 lead in Game 5 of the division series against Washington. And then Dave Roberts, who I felt should have been fired 2 years ago, leaving Joe Kelly out there to face Howie Kendrick and then throwing him a pitch in his sweet spot? Really?
Yeah, I agree with you. And that's another thing. Dave Roberts has had a lot of questionable decisions
That's
as
an
manager
understatement.
for the Dodgers. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's had a lot of questionable decisions as manager for the Dodgers throughout this time that they've been competing for a World Series. So I agree with you overall, Brian, about that.
Man. My partner's Trey Larkins, the host of The Wise Guys. You're riding with Trey and Snow on Next Level Sports. Our discussion starting with the Astros and how Trey feels that title should be vacated. Now, I did have a list of things that we were going to talk about. I'm tearing it up because we're going to go off the mark here because we're going to just pick at each other for a little while because there were some things that Trey has said and I have said back to him, and people thought that he and I were actually arguing. Here's what I mean. How many times have you said something about Aaron Rodgers? And I've jumped on you.
Multiple times.
How many times have you said something about Aaron Rodgers? And after the NFC Championship, I read your post on the air, and I just broke down the stats of the NFC Championship game. And I was one of the first people you reached out to before the NFC title game saying, here comes Aaron Rodgers, here comes Aaron Rodgers. Oh, yeah, well, here comes Nick Bosa in return, doggone it.
Yeah, and it definitely happened, man. I was, to be honest, I got to say, look, before the NFC Championship game, I had made a post. I'm going to be honest, Brian, I was psyching myself up to actually believe that we had a chance against the Niners because, early, I'll admit it because, earlier in the season,
you got your ass kicked 37-8 in the Bay.
I got to admit it. So I'm guilty.
Right. And I had to pounce. After the Sunday night game. I had to pounce when you wrote a post immediately after the game, something to the tune of "That's okay, we will see you again." And I think I responded something like, "Y'all gonna have nightmares if you see us again because we're not even healthy."
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, here's the thing, though. The week of the NFC Championship game, Brian, you've seen this post. I know you've seen it. I went on Facebook and I made a post, and I said, hey, we got Jimmy Graham. They got George Kittle.
Right.
We have a more proven tight end than George Kittle.
Yes.
I know George Kittle's better than. I know George Kittle is better than Graham. I just said Graham was more proven.
Right.
I also said we got the Smith brothers.
Yep.
We got Matt LaFleur.
Yep.
In his first year, he led us to a 13-3 record. They got Cal Shanahan. Shanahan, his first year, he was terrible. I said this is the best year he's had so far since he's been a coach. I was trying to psych myself and other Packers fans into actually believing that we had a chance. Like, I knew we didn't have a snowball chance in hell with beating the Niners. The Niners' defense was just too much. I knew we would.
And then on top of that, yes, I know my 49ers lost the Super Bowl, but damn it, we got there. We only threw the ball 8 times.
Yes. That's what made it even worse. But damn it, you know I'm a fan, Brian. I'm a fan.
I know you are. I know you're a partner. I know you're a partner.
I was sticking with my heart, man. Yeah, I was sticking with my heart. That was our heart.
And then a fella named Raheem Mostert showed up out of nowhere. And if I know you as well as I do, we've been friends a while. If I know you, brother, as well as I do, every time Raheem Mostert touched the ball, you're going, "Who the hell is this guy?"
Yes, I couldn't believe it, and that was the most frustrating part about the NFC Championship, Brian. It wasn't the fact that we lost. It was how we lost. I said, how the hell did we lose a game? How did we lose a game? And Jimmy G passed 8 times.
8 times.
Like what? 8 times. Unbelievable.
I had so many friends at work. Come up to me because, folks know I go do the show and then I come home. I go to work. My wife and I go to work and then we come back and then I crank up and go. But I had so many friends at work come up to me and I'm sitting here with tears in my eyes and I'm going, my friends will say, how did you know they were going to be that bad? I mean, my friends were coming up to me at work, and they would just yank me aside and go, "How the hell did you know it was going to be that bad?"
Yeah, man, it was pretty embarrassing. Like, it was embarrassing. Like, I gotta be honest, I have never, like, I watched the Packers games for years, bro. Yes. I've been a fan since I was 2 years old.
Yes, sir.
And I'm gonna be honest, I have never literally watched the game, especially since Aaron Rodgers has been our quarterback. I have never watched the game where the early part of that game, I said to myself, "Damn." Like I knew, like I knew, like the early part of the game, Brian. I really did, like, because here I am. I put on my Packers gear, Brian. I put on my Packers shorts, my Packers jerseys, my Packers socks, my hat. I'm a real fan. I put on all my gear.
I know it,
I was sitting there watching it.
I know it.
Yeah, and I was watching it like, man, these boys are getting blown off the ball. I said, they wasted my Sunday night, my Sunday evening. I got to go to work tomorrow. And they wasted my Sunday evening.
I told you, my friends at work would just come up to me and they would just have this look on their face. There are a couple folks there that are big-time Packer fans, and they wore the hat and everything, and they were trying to jinx me my last day there before I had my 2 days off. And then that Sunday, I go in, and they just looked at me. You know how your friends give you this look when you knew something they didn't? They just looked at me, dog. They just looked at me with this death stare. Like, how the hell did you pick this off? And I'm laughing the whole day. I'm laughing the whole time. One of my supervisors, you know it's bad when a supervisor approaches you. One of my supervisors came up to me and said, "Did you really expect them to score 37 points?" Hell yeah. Oh man, it's Next Level Sports with Trey Larkins and yours truly, the Snowman. We're just having fun here on this premiere edition. And folks, you're going to hear this also inside Snowman in the Morning. Man, listen, there are quite a few subjects where Trey and I pick at each other a lot. Aaron Rodgers is one, and I love the videos when you are in your Packer when you're in your Packer garb. I'm glad y'all beat the Bears, even though the Bears are my hometown team. But I knew you had no shot in hell against the 49ers twice. And the first time we beat you, as I mentioned before, we were beat up. We didn't have everybody. NFC Championship, we were completely healthy, and you said, I don't care if y'all are completely healthy. We're going to beat you in the Bay. No, you're not.
Yeah. Yeah, it was rough, man, because like a lot of times when it comes to football, when you look at games from a defensive standpoint, you are actually okay if a quarterback drops back to pass and beats you with his arm. He throws for over 400 yards, 500 yards.
Mm-hmm.
But when you have a team that has over 200 rushing yards in a particular playoff game, like the 49ers, they literally snatched the Packers' defensive front hearts from their chest. Like, they literally snatched their hearts from their chest, and it was a complete domination by that offensive line for the 49ers. They dominated the game in the trenches. Yeah. And it brought me back to old school football, Brian, to be honest, because this is what they did back in the 80s and the 90s. They were running the football in playoff games. Exactly.
we ran the football, and the defensive line of the Packers, and I know you praised them and you had every reason to. They only got to Garoppolo once, and that was by luck. That was by pure unadulterated luck, and it led to a field goal. And at the time, it put us up 10-0. And then the second quarter, it was y'all were buried in the dirt.
Exactly. And then because I've said all year, I think that Zadarius Smith and Preston Smith, they were great pickups for my Packers in the offseason.
Mm-hmm. Yes, they were.
I like both of those brothers.
Yes.
Yeah, but those guys, they're pass rushers. So coming into the game, I felt like if the game is close, if we can apply some pressure to Jimmy Garoppolo, may get some turnovers, get some more opportunities for Aaron Rodgers. It never even got to that point because the Niners ran the football effectively. So Jimmy Garoppolo didn't even have to throw the ball more than 8 times.
We ran the ball 44 times. You know why you didn't get to Garoppolo? We ran the ball 44 times. 42 times. I beg your pardon. I'm looking at the stats right now. My wife's pulling it up for me. 42 times we ran the ball in that game.
Definitely. And the thing is, when you play sports and you play a team in a regular season and then you play them in the playoffs, if you get beat in the regular season, you feel like when we get to the playoffs, it may be a different moment. Maybe we can outplay that team, whatever the case may be. But I got to be honest. This year, it didn't matter if we played you guys in Green Bay or you played in San Francisco. We played you at Paul Brown Stadium. In 2 games this year, when the Packers played the Niners, you guys have outscored us 74 to 28.
74 to 28.
You're the better team. You're the better, and that's to be honest. A lot of times, I got to say this too, real quick, Brian. A lot of times, when it comes to football and like my Packers, when we lose a close playoff game, I'd be devastated. Like back in the 2014 NFC Championship game, when we lost to Seattle, I was devastated. I felt like we should have won that. Yeah, I was devastated. And it's been other games where like we got beat. But this one wasn't really hard for me to get over after about a day because I just felt like, hey, the Niners were a better team than us. Period. Once you can accept that a team is better than your team, it helps you sleep better at night. It helps you sleep better.
It does.
It's hard when teams aren't as good as your team,
and they still
like,
beat you.
We was in the game. We had a chance. Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
and they still beat you. I tell you what, man. Like I told you, folks. He and I pick on each other a lot online. We do it in fun. And after the Sunday night game, I mentioned something to Trey about y'all are going to have nightmares about George Kittle if we see you again. And Trey immediately jumped on it, and I knew he would. He was like, nah, we're not going to have any problems with George Kittle. He only caught the ball once tonight. Yeah, problem is it went for 61 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah, exactly.
It went for 60. Like, yeah, we only limited Kittle to 1 catch. Yeah, here's the problem. It went for 61 yards and a touchdown and basically put the game out of reach.
Exactly. And you know what's so funny? In the NFC Championship game, Kittle didn't do much, but he didn't have to.
No,
he didn't have to. Yeah, he didn't have to. He didn't have to. But that leads me to another conversation I want to ask you, Brian.
All right.
Speaking of George Kittle, who do you believe is the best tight end in pro football?
It's a tie.
Kelsey or Kittle?
It's a tie. It's a tie. Kelsey because he won the Super Bowl. Kittle because he does everything. Kelsey does everything also. I mean, the two of the best tight ends, and I think they're going to meet in Tampa next year. And yes, I'm putting a very bold prediction out there. Look, there's not much difference between Travis Kelsey and George Kittle, but the play of the year goes to Kittle with that play he made against New Orleans on 4th and 2. Where he dragged 3 Saints down the field with him for 30 yards.
Yes, and if you remember at that time, in that game, it was the Saints and the Niners that was fighting for home field advantage in the NFC.
Yeah.
So the Niners needed that game.
New Orleans was the number one seed at the time. The 49ers came in, they hung with the Saints, and it was 46 to 40. It was 46 to 45, and then magic happened on 4th and 2. I couldn't believe that play. And here's another funny story for you. I was watching it. Wife and I were taking a nap, or trying to take a nap before we had to do a night shift at work. But I had to lay completely still and not shake the bed in excitement, so I wouldn't wake my wife up.
Yeah, that was a big time play.
Like
you said, you could make an argument that was the play of the year. That was a hell of a play because the Niners needed that play. It was a 4th and 2, and Garoppolo, he went through a security blanket and George Kittle. But I do agree with you about the comparison of George Kittle and Kelsey. Both of those players are great players.
Man.
I believe that I think I give Kittle a slight edge as far as
it's a very slight edge because Kelsey's learning to block better. Okay, Kelsey has a few 1,000-yard seasons, but Kittle knows his role. Kittle knows his role. He knows he's more of a he's just recently become a pass catching tight end. Folks, I have the clip queued up. This is courtesy of Fox Sports, the New Orleans Saints and the San Francisco 49ers. Here's the situation. It was 4th and 2 for San Francisco. They needed to convert this or the game was over as the Niners only had one timeout remaining. This is the play that Trey and I say is the play of the year. Again, courtesy of Fox Sports.
Garoppolo fires. It is caught. Still on his feet is Kittle with a big play and the stiff arm. George Kittle. Flags flying. He's down to the 30.
I saw that and I went, what?
Yeah. Yeah.
I saw that and I went, did he just do that?
Yeah, that was a big time play. That was definitely a big time play.
Now,
when it comes to that game, go ahead.
That was a game of the year. That was a great game. Forget the Super Bowl. That was the game of the year. Saints and the 49ers. Here's another thing that Trey and I pick on each other a lot about. Trey seems to think, and you know I'm doing this in fun, Trey seems to think that he knows the NBA point guard that has the best handles, but he always comes up with the wrong answer. He always seems to come. I tell you what, in the years that Trey and I have been friends, we have argued between Kyrie Irving and Stephen Curry for almost every NBA conversation that we've had online, man.
Yes, we have. Yes, we have.
Because it's fun. It's fun when you can talk with someone and they pick on you and you pick on them right back. Trey made a post one day that caught my attention, and he says, "I don't care what anybody says. Kyrie Irving has the best handles in the NBA. Argue with me." I was the first one that commented and said, "Okay, no problem. He doesn't." And I could just see Trey's face drop. He's laughing, but I see his face drop. And he's like, "You dare argue against me? Hell yeah, I do, because I know someone that's got better handles than Kyrie Irving." And he says, who is that? I want you. He kept begging me, and I couldn't respond for a while because I was at work at the time. And he says, I dare you to tell me someone who has better handles than Kyrie Irving. Okay, he wears number 30. And he goes, you're kidding, right? Hell no, I'm not kidding. We've been friends since, and we've been arguing about that since that day.
Yeah, we have. I do agree with you that Steph Curry does have tremendous handles, but I think Kyrie Irving, in his own right, has great handles. I think those two are definitely top three.
He does. I've always agreed with you that he does. But see, there's an advantage. See, Kyrie hit a championship winning shot in 2016, and then a year later, Steph returned the favor after going behind his back and between his legs, nearly losing the dribble, and then he buried a three from the corner that sealed up Game 5 a year later. So that cancels each other out.
Yeah, but you gotta also throw in there in that game-winning shot by Kyrie. It was over
Steph.
Curry.
It was over Steph.
Yeah.
So Steph returned the favor the next year over Kyrie after baking him with a dribble, and then he launched another ridiculous shot, and he buried it from the corner.
Yeah. That actually leads me to another thing I wanted to ask you about Steph Curry.
Yeah.
I was listening to Steve Kerr, and Steve Kerr was talking about it's a possibility that Steph Curry may return to the lineup in March. Do you believe the Warriors should play Steph Curry this year,
No.
or do you think he should sit out the rest of the season?
No. Let him completely heal. Let Klay Thompson completely heal. Because they're going to have one of the top 5 draft picks, and they're going after a big man. They're going after a big man that can run the floor. In fact, I'll put a rumor out there right now. The Warriors acquired Andrew Wiggins for D'Angelo Russell. There is another piece from Minnesota that's in play, and that piece is Karl Anthony Towns.
Yeah. Yep. I've heard that. I've heard those rumblings. I agree with you about Steph Curry. I believe the Warriors, I don't care what they do, but they need to let Steph Curry know, hey, go home, be a family man, Aisha and the kids. You've had 5 straight finals. 5 straight. Yes, 5 straight finals appearances. I believe at some point there's wear and tear on your body.
Mm-hmm.
I believe Steph Curry should sit at home. I don't think the Warriors should even want him at the facility. I really do. He's been to the finals 5 straight
But
years.
see, Steph Curry is a shooter.
Off.
Yes, Steph deserves time off. Klay deserves time off. That whole team deserves some time off, and this year, unfortunately, is that time off. But you know it's pissing them off that they're not in contention for top seed in the West or a playoff spot in the West. But here's what I think is going to happen, and this is totally a rumor. This is totally my thoughts. Karl Anthony Towns is in play for the Golden State Warriors. Okay? There's a chance that not only Karl Anthony Towns returns, but D'Angelo Russell returns with him. Because now the Warriors have some draft capital to dangle in front of Minnesota. You get Karl Anthony Towns, and a lot has been made about his defense or lack thereof in Minnesota. He was playing defense under Tom Thibodeau. Okay? You get Karl Anthony Towns in that system with Mike Brown coaching him, he will be so dynamite and so dangerous, and you're going to look up and see, wait a minute, where the hell do the Warriors come from? Again.
Yes, I agree with you. But here's the thing, though, Brian. Even without Karl Anthony Towns, anytime that you have Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, the best shooting backcourt we've ever seen, anytime you have those two on the court together, guess what? The Warriors are a championship contender. You know it, and I know it. And I know you're a Warriors fan, so I know you love this.
Thank you. Somebody that agrees with what I'm feeling when it comes to the Golden State Warriors. There are 3 teams that I follow religiously: my hometown Bulls, the San Antonio Spurs, and the Golden State Warriors. And a lot of people seem to think I'm a bandwagon fan, but you know what? There was a fellow named Tim Hardaway. There were fellows named Tim Hardaway, Chris Mullin, and Mitch Richmond that made me follow the Warriors back in the 90s. Then came the We Believe team with Steven Jackson and Baron Davis in 2007. I've been a full-time Warrior fan since 2007 with that We Believe team. Klay Thompson and Steph Curry are the best damn shooting backcourt, period.
Yes. I completely agree with you. And if both of those guys come back healthy next year,
it's
the Warriors
trouble.
will definitely be championship contenders.
It's
They'll
trouble.
be right back in the championship picture. I've been telling everybody this for weeks about the Warriors. I said this year they're taking a year off.
And that's all they're doing. That's all they're doing. Because people are still buying up tickets to the Chase Center in a heartbeat. And you know what made my year for as far as covering the Warriors? They beat the Houston Rockets in the Chase Center on Christmas Day.
Yes, they did. They did. And I said, when that happened, I said, this is inexcusable for the Rockets. I said, anytime James Harden is in the Bay, he always comes up short. Like, he never gets it done when he plays the Warriors in Golden State. Now, it never happens. He had horrors and nightmares at Oracle Arena. Now he's having nightmares
at Chase Center.
Chase Center.
He had nightmares in Oakland. He's having bigger nightmares in San Francisco because the loss in San Francisco was minus the Splash Brothers.
Exactly. It's unbelievable. It's crazy.
I can't.
Let me ask you a question too about.
Go for it.
Go ahead, Brian. My bad. Go ahead.
What's your question? Go for it.
I was gonna say, when it comes to the NBA overall, we know we're about to get back into the second half of the season. And, so far, the Lakers are the leaders in the West, and the Eastern Conference is the Bucks. Who is your favorite right now to be in the NBA Finals, and who you got winning
it? I feel like Kawhi with that laugh, but anyway.
Did you just give up your answer?
Clippers, Raptors.
Wow, interesting. Okay. Wow. Well, let's start off in the Western Conference. I agree with you. I think the Clippers will be in the Western Conference Finals against the Lakers, but I have the Clippers beating the Lakers in the Western Conference Finals because
the Lakers won't even see the Western Conference Finals.
Really? You don't have them in there?
I'll borrow one of your answers that I love saying a lot. Hell no!
So who do you have beating the Lakers in the playoffs? Do you think the Rockets can get them?
Once again, hell no. The team that will take out the Lakers will be the Denver Nuggets.
The Nuggets, interesting. Yeah, because right now, the way the standings are, the Nuggets are the second seed. I think the Clippers are going to be the second seed when it's all said and done in the Western Conference. Would you agree?
We shall see. Hey, crazy. Yeah. It's the Western Conference. You know crazy things happen in the Western Conference. It'll be the second half of the year, and the most stupid things happen in the Western Conference second half of the year. Even during Golden State's run, stupid things happen. Just ask the Houston Rockets. They won 65 games 2 years ago and got spanked at home in Game 7.
Yes, they did. But right now, when you look at the standings, if it stays the way it's currently constructed, the Nuggets will play the Clippers in the second round.
Yep.
I think the Clippers will beat the Nuggets. Yeah, I think the Clippers will beat the Nuggets. And in the second round, the Lakers will play either the Jazz or the Rockets. Jazz and the Rockets are in that 4 or 5 spot.
Okay. To be honest, I'll say Utah takes out the Lakers.
I can't go that far.
I'm going that far, and I got a very good reason. This is where Next Level Sports Talk comes in, folks. I got a very good reason. The Lakers do not have a point guard.
Completely agree with you. You know what's so funny, Brian? Yesterday, I was on Twitter, and all of a sudden I get a notification to my phone. Oh, Reggie Jackson reaches a buyout with the Detroit Pistons. He's expected to sign with the Lakers. No, not the Lakers, the Clippers. I said, what? I said, the Lakers should have been trying to get Reggie Jackson. Like, are you kidding me? Like,
the Lakers should have been trying to get Derrick Rose.
Yeah, Derrick Rose too. But even if you can't get Derrick Rose, they could have at least got Reggie Jackson. Reggie Jackson can create his own shot. Mm-hmm. He's a facilitator. He's a playmaker. I think he could have helped the Lakers. You remember they were trying to get Darren Collison.
Yeah, Darren Collison took a look at that dumpster fire and went, "Hell no, I don't want a part of that."
Yeah, exactly. But that actually leads me to my other point about why I agree with you that the Clippers will beat the Lakers. I don't know if it'll be in the Western Conference Finals, but I think the Clippers are going to be representing the West in the finals because the Clippers, if they do play the Lakers, they got 4 players they can send to guard LeBron James, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, Morris, and Patrick Beverly.
And they won't need all four of them. They'll just tell the claw, sick them. They'll tell the claw to sick them.
But the thing is, Brian, they don't even need Kawhi to guard LeBron, to be honest. Kawhi could save his energy for the offensive end.
Yep.
And that really is going to be problems for the Lakers because other than LeBron James, they have no other playmakers on their team.
None. They nearly got beat by the Denver Nuggets before the All-Star break, and that took overtime.
Yes, it did. It did. And like I said, I disagree with you. I think the Lakers will get to the Western Conference Finals because I do think LeBron James and Anthony Davis as a duo will be a little bit too much for the Jazz, and if they had to play like the Grizzlies or the Mavericks in the first round, I think they'll be a little bit too much for those teams. But they'll lose to the Clippers in the Western Conference Finals for sure. For sure.
I still say West semifinals is as far as the Lakers will go. Okay, it's the Western Conference. It's really going to depend on who gets what seed. Speaking of seeds, I'm going to make a very bold prediction. The team that gets the number 8 seed and that will give the Lakers the business in the first round before eventually being eliminated will be the Portland Trailblazers.
I agree with you. I think the way Damian Lillard is playing, I know he had the injury before the All-Star break. I think his injury is growing.
Yeah.
And that's not good.
Yeah. No, it's not.
Yeah. That's not good. But if Damian Lillard comes back and he's anywhere close to 100%, I don't see there's any way in hell that Damian Lillard doesn't get the Trailblazers into the playoffs. I think it's going to happen. And I agree with you. I think the Lakers will probably win that series against the Trailblazers.
Yep.
But it'll be a tough 6 games.
Man, Portland's going to give the Lakers the business, and I wouldn't be surprised if it goes the distance. I would not be surprised if LeBron gets taken the distance by the Portland Trailblazers in the first round. Now, as for the Eastern Conference, can we please just shut it down that the Philadelphia 76ers are not getting to the Eastern Conference Finals? Can we shut that down, please?
Yes, because I believe, especially if they stay right now they're in the 5th spot. So they'll play Miami in the first round. They'll lose to Miami. Miami will beat the Sixers.
Everybody in the East can give the Sixers the business for the simplest of reasons. Philadelphia can't win on the road.
Yes, they're terrible on the road. 9-19 on the road. They're 25-2 at home. They're 9-19 on the road. Let me ask you a question. Do you believe that Brett Brown is the coach for the Sixers moving forward? Do you think he's going to be the coach to get them to the next level?
No.
Me either. I don't think so either.
But the only way Brett Brown stays is if either Ben Simmons or Joel Embiid takes a hike. And I think Ben Simmons is going to take a hike.
Yes, I agree. Because the problem I have with Brett Brown, he doesn't develop his players well.
Nope.
We talked about all season long about whether or not Ben Simmons is going to be able to hit consistent jump shots. Brian, he doesn't even take jump shots. Not only, he's not even taking the jump shots. Like, what do you do? Like,
why is he so afraid to take a jump shot? Why is he so afraid to take a jump shot?
But that's coaching, Brian. That's coaching because your coach has to let you know we need you to hit consistent jump shots. Ain't this what you've been working on in the gym? That's all we needed Ben Simmons to work on, if you're a Sixers fan, was hitting consistent jump shots.
Not only that, but hitting some free throws. He's a lefty.
Yeah.
Not only that, hitting some free throws. Because if you notice, the last 2 series Philadelphia was in, he was sitting on the bench in crunch time. Because if he's on the floor in the final 4 minutes of the fourth quarter, they're going to foul the hell out of him. Go to the line and make some free throws.
Yeah, you got to hit your free throws. And the thing is, half the time when I'm watching Joel Embiid, I like Joel Embiid. I think Joel Embiid has tremendous upside, and he can be a superstar. But half the time when I'm watching Embiid, Brian, he's out of shape. He's out of shape. He's tired, going up and down the floor. He doesn't have that motor that the Greek Freak has, and he's going to need that for the Sixers to win in the playoffs.
Embiid doesn't have that motor, and I'll tell you someone else who doesn't have that motor and won't have it for a couple of years. That's Zion Williamson. Have you seen him go up and down the floor? I'm not impressed.
So you think he needs to lose some weight too? Do you think that'll help his game?
He's playing. Some weight, not only does he need to lose some weight, I think he's playing out of position.
So you don't think Because what they got him playing like the 5, right? He plays like a 5 a lot.
Yep. They need to pull him out.
So
they need to pull him out of the post, make him lose about 40 pounds, and then make him shoot about 100 jump shots an hour. I think Zion Williamson needs to be a shooting guard.
Really?
I think Zion needs to be. I look at it this way. Give you a perfect example. There's a fellow named Charles Barkley who's in the Hall of Fame, known as the round mound of rebound for many reasons. In Philadelphia, he was this big man that lumbered up and down the floor. Now, he had a completely different motor than Zion Williamson. That's why I love watching Barkley play. But at the same time, when Barkley was traded from Philadelphia to Phoenix, you know how much weight he lost to really get himself in shape to run in the Western Conference? How do you think he won the MVP in 1993? And not only that, he added something very, very important, a consistent jump shot from long range.
Yes. I agree with you about that. I understand where you're coming from that standpoint. I think overall, though, this year, they were talking about on First Take earlier, who's the Rookie of the Year. It's by far John Morant. John Morant
was Rookie of the Year getting off the bus.
Yes. He's having a hell of a year.
John Morant was the Rookie of the Year getting off the train station before he was selected.
Yes.
John Morant came ready. All right? John Morant was ready.
This year, he's averaging 18 points per game on 49% shooting, 7 assists per game. So John Morant is a great facilitator. He's a tremendous playmaker, and he is changing the culture in Memphis. Memphis has something with this John Morant kid.
Yeah.
Yes, they have something.
It's the return of the grindhouse.
I've been seeing all these people talk about, well, maybe Zion can find himself in the Rookie of the Year conversation.
No.
This is John Morant award right now, and I'm pretty sure it's going to finish the year that way. He's been playing some great basketball.
Man, please. I love John Morant. Loved watching him at Murray State. He's only gotten better. And besides, whenever you hit a three-pointer in James Harden's eyes, in James Harden's face, you have my vote.
Yes, for certain. I want to get back to the Eastern Conference real quick. And I want to talk about the Bucks because, last year the Bucks were the number 1 overall seed in the Eastern Conference, lost in the Eastern Conference Finals to Kawhi and the Raptors.
Yep.
This year, they're the number 1 overall seed again, and
they're going to lose again.
They're playing some.
No, I don't trust the Bucks to get out of the East because all you have to do to beat the Bucks is do what Toronto did: send a posse after Giannis. And I mean that defensively.
Yeah, I agree with you. I've been seeing everyone riding this Milwaukee Bucks to the finals train, and I believe the Milwaukee Bucks. Yeah, I know, but everybody else is. All the experts, they predicting the Bucks would be in the finals. I disagree completely. I think the Bucks could lose to the Miami Heat in the second round. I really do. Yeah, I'm not a sole believer in the Bucks, and here's one of the reasons why. The Greek Freak, he doesn't have any consistent moves on the offensive side of the ball. Like when it's time to make a move and the game is late, and all games in the playoffs are close games, and you have to be a player that can create his own shot to get to a certain point on the floor, get to the free throw line. Those are the issues that I have with the Greek Freak. He obviously doesn't hit consistent jump shots, and one of the problems that I have with his game, offensively, he struggles. He struggles overall being able to get to his spot. Like a Kawhi Leonard, like a Kevin Durant when he was playing, before his injury. He struggles being able to get to a certain spot and hit his shot that he can rely on in a playoff series, and that could be some issues for the Bucks the later they get into the playoffs.
And here's something, we'll close with this. Here's something I've said about Giannis Antetokounmpo, even though he's added a jump shot, it's not consistent. I've said 4 words about Giannis since he's been in the league. Giannis Antetokounmpo can't shoot.
He can't.
He can't shoot.
He can't shoot. And, I believe in a playoff series, if they're going up against the Miami Heat, the way Jimmy Butler is playing.
It's trouble.
And leading that team, it's trouble. It's trouble. And now they actually have Andre Iguodala and Jay Crowder, 2 players who can help the Miami Heat defensively.
Yeah, one of them who's won 3 world championships. This is the indictment. Exactly. We'll leave with this note before we head to break. I'll leave with this note. This is an indictment against the Los Angeles Lakers. 2 of them. You had 2 All-Stars and 1 3-time champion. The 3-time champion being Andre Iguodala, the All-Stars, both Iguodala and Derrick Rose. And they got neither of them. Oops. Oops.
Yeah. Neither of them. It made no sense. Like, they didn't make no moves. Like, I didn't understand it for the life of me. And I said, with Marcus Morris going to the Clippers, the Lakers, if anything, should just traded for him to keep him away from the Clippers. If they just do something to keep him away from the Clippers.
But
they didn't do it.
Who's in charge? Who's in charge? Rob frickin' Pelinka.
Yep, it's Rob Pelinka.
There's the problem. Rob Pelinka ain't nowhere near Jerry Buss.
He's not. He is not.
There's the problem, Laker Nation. There's your problem. As soon as you clean up your front office, you can actually make some moves that actually work. And I wouldn't be surprised that in 2 years' time, Anthony Davis says, I'm the hell out of here. If not earlier.
Me either. Yes, that's what people are saying. And he's from Chicago. And the All-Star game was in Chicago this year. And I wouldn't be surprised if
the Bulls made a play for him in the offseason. In this coming offseason, if the Bulls didn't make a play for him.
Yes, I agree with you. I definitely could see the Bulls pursuing Anthony Davis. He's from Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
He lived in that area. So if the Lakers come up short in the playoffs and they have an early playoff exit,
the Bulls are making a move.
See Anthony Davis. Yeah, we could possibly see Anthony Davis looking over at Chicago and wondering if he could go over there and help that team.
Mm-hmm.
And be, so we'll see what happens. We'll definitely see what happens.
And we'll leave LeBron in the dust again. Next Level Sports Talk, you can hear it each week with yours truly, the Snowman, and Trey Larkins. And Trey, a pleasure, my man. An absolute joy.
Yes, sir. I definitely agree with you on that. I'm excited about it. I love doing this with you, man. It's going to be fun. It's definitely going to be some fun times moving forward.
It is gonna be fun. Thanks a lot, my friend.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it. You have a good one.
This is Snowman in the Morning.
I did not need to be told that.
Where true sports talk lives.
Excellent.
Can't wait.
Okay, folks, I've had some great guests on the show in the 6 years that I've been active in hosting this show. But this gentleman that I'm about to reintroduce to you guys, I had him on once, and that was a mistake because I should have had him on a lot more times. And now so much was going on with me off the mic. And then, just recently I got married, moved to North Carolina. He and I finally are getting together to give y'all an education on the NBA. He is the host of Beyond the Buzzer and also the Around the Association podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome my good brother, Danny Thompson. He joins me right now. It's good to talk to you, my friend. It has been a while.
Mr. Snow, it's a pleasure. And yes, it has been a while, but we're not, after this conversation today, we will not make this a long-term not speaking again.
We won't. We won't. I mean, he paid me a great compliment before we came on, and he said to me, it's good to see you come from nothing to be where you are now. And I say this to you, A, thank you, and B, we still have a couple of mountains to climb because there's some stuff that we need to do. And I truly appreciate your words.
Hey, the thing is, it's always uplift. We always try to uplift one another no matter the situation. The thing is, respect remains respect and iron sharpens iron. So, we always have to uplift and motivate each other. And because we're all trying to do the same thing. We're all just trying to do this for a living and what we love to do. So I love it.
And I love it also. All right, man. I have picked on you mercilessly for many years now. This poor guy, I've picked on him. You know, when he spreads his, you got to go check out the Around the Association podcast. I'm a faithful subscriber and listener. I love the podcast. I tease him mercilessly when it comes to the subject of the NBA because A, I like teasing him, and B, he usually knocks me down about 5 pegs with his knowledge, which is why I brought him on. And, you know, like I said, we tease each other. We're brothers on the microphone. And, man, again, it is great to have you on so we can get some NBA chatter going. I truly appreciate it.
Let's rock it, bro.
Let's rock it indeed. The second half of the season is here. And what I want to do, I want to pose some questions about some teams. And we'll start in the East. One of the teams that has been ballyhooed all season long, but in my eyes hasn't gotten to that level yet, is the Philadelphia 76ers. Here are my 2 reasons. Lack of a jump shot for Ben Simmons, lack of health for Joel Embiid. Your thoughts?
I wrote about this I posted an article about this on the website Around the Association yesterday. The Philadelphia 76ers are the Jekyll and Hyde of the NBA this season. And I say it this way because at home, they are a monster. They're 25-2 at home this year.
Right.
But they're 9-19 on the road. It's one of the biggest differences in the NBA. And when I say differences is because they win by about 10 points a game at home. And they
lose
give up
by
10 more points a game
on the road.
The good news for Sixers fans.
You would think they would be playing at the old Spectrum in Philadelphia, the way they are at home. You'd think they'd be back at the Spectrum.
The crazy, they have a better home record than the Milwaukee Bucks, who is on pace to win 70 games this year.
That's frightening.
So the Sixers, the good news for Sixers fans is that acquiring Alec Burks and Glenn Robinson III will help the bench. The other good part is they're now going to bring Al Horford off the bench because when they transferred Al Horford, it was one of the most head-scratching moves of the entire summer because you have 2 guys. Now, mind you, Horford's a great passer, but Horford doesn't stretch the floor like most stretch forwards do.
Yes. So
it didn't seem like it was a great fit. And yes, you're right. Ben Simmons still hasn't developed a jump shot, and we're still 5 years into it, and it's still not happening. I don't find it happening soon. The one thing with the Sixers is that they can get themselves in a playoff series. They match up very well with Boston. They match up very well with Miami.
Right.
They even mess with Toronto now because Toronto doesn't have Kawhi Leonard. If they end up with Milwaukee, it's see you later.
Yeah.
They have no answer for Giannis. And I'll say this: the other part with the Sixers that's scary is that they miss Jimmy Butler more than you would think.
Well, yeah,
because Jimmy Butler is a closer. Just like in the movie Boss Baby, ABC always be closing. The Sixers don't have that guy. And as much as I love Tobias Harris,
he ain't that closer.
He's not a closer.
He's not a closer.
And he's a good ball player, but he's not a guy that I will sit here and say he will put fear in me at the end of games. And that's why the Sixers cannot get past maybe the second round or even the Eastern Conference Finals, depending on the matchup.
I don't see them going past the second round. I mean, the hell with the Eastern Conference Finals, unless Ben Simmons decides to become a closer like everybody's making him out to be, I don't see him getting out of the second round. I don't see it.
Josh Richardson better start hitting jump shots in the fourth quarter. That's what I'm saying.
Jeez, and y'all thought I was bad with some of these takes, okay? But it's truth, though. If you watch, it's truth. Now, I move to this question as we stay in the East. What the hell is wrong with Brooklyn? The New Jersey Nets.
Well, let's do it this way. You know, Brooklyn. If you had the high expectations with Brooklyn when the season started, you're going to be highly disappointed. And it's not because of Kyrie Irving, because your best player is coming off the most debilitating injury in the history of the NBA that has conquered more players than we can think of. And Snowman, you are an old school. You're an old school fiend.
Yes.
The only player that ever survived the Achilles is Dominique Wilkins.
Dominique Wilkins, yep. He went to play on
94.
Yep. He played 5 more seasons after he came back from that injury.
And he averaged 30 points a game the year he came back.
Yep.
He's the only player to survive and become the player he was. So it's not looking good for Kevin Durant. So if you're expecting the Nets to do anything major this year, you should have been sadly mistaken. Now, Kyrie Irving was hurt the entire season. He hurt his shoulder early part of November, and now he took cortisone shots and will have to have surgery if he's not already had it. The Nets have a problem right now. And it's not because of Kyrie Irving. The Nets knew they weren't going to be no more than a 7 seed anyway. Okay, the Nets' job is to basically avoid, and just like the Orlando Magic and other teams in the East, if you make the playoffs, avoid the 8 seed. At least if you're at 7, you have a fighting chance to win a game or two in the playoffs. Because if you run into the buzzsaw up in Milwaukee, you're going to get destroyed in the first round.
Forget it.
It's a first round sweep.
Forget it.
Brooklyn now has a very interesting question in the offseason. With Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant coming back, okay, fully healthy, what to do with Spencer Dinwiddie? Spencer Dinwiddie, be honest with you, before Kyrie Irving returned to the lineup, was an all-star. And he is a guy that can give you 20 points a game, and he plays with he plays hard every night.
Yes, he does.
Now, when you get Kevin Durant coming back, you get Kyrie Irving coming back, you have Karis LeVert. What to do about Spencer Dinwiddie? That's the real question.
Yeah.
It's not like Brooklyn's going to do anything in the playoffs. Let's be honest. They're a first-round snack.
Yes.
They're going to be a first-round snack for anybody, with or without Kyrie Irving. And I love Kyrie.
He said first-round snack.
They're going to be a first-round snack for whoever they end up with in the playoffs.
I know it. I know it. Oh, my Lord. I got to use that now. First-round snack. I bet you my wife's going to get a hold of this phrase and she's going to use it on me one of these days. I absolutely know that's going to happen. Let's stay in the East, shall we?
Trademark, by the way.
Okay.
Let's go.
Okay. Let's stay in the East. Boston, Toronto. Do either one of those two get to the World Championship Series?
Both of them. Actually, no, the funny thing is we looked at Toronto when the season started. You're thinking they lost Kawhi Leonard, they lost Danny Green. Okay, they're going to be not so good. Kyle Lowry missed a whole bunch of time, and then Pascal Siakam might even be the most improved player for the second consecutive year in a row, which is almost unheard of.
Yeah.
Then there's a guy who was hitting big shots in the finals last year who took into Kyle Lowry's role, and that's Fred VanVleet. The Raptors are the only team in the NBA that has built their team with guys from the G League and undrafted free agents. If you look at Keo guys' rotation, you look at Van Fleet, who wasn't drafted. Pascal Siakam was a late first round pick that was part of the G League team. You look at Chris Boucher, you look at Terrence Davis, you look at Norman Powell. If you want to go back and see how good the Raptors was, look at the team that Jeff Weltman and those guys built with Masai Ujiri.
Yeah.
Go back to Raptors 905. Which is their G League team that was coached by Jerry Stackhouse. That was the most dominating G League team in the history, I think, of that entire league. The Raptors, I think, are fine. They're just, like the Boston Celtics, they're a matchup situation. Is the further you get away from Milwaukee and the longer you have to get to them, the better chance you have of getting to the conference finals.
Gotcha.
Boston has all the talent. The problem with Boston is that do they have enough rim protection? There is no Al Horford. There's no Aaron Baines.
Right.
Robert Williams has moments. Enes Kanter can't guard a can of paint. But Enes Kanter is good for a double-double. So that means you're relying on Daniel Tice and a whole bunch of other guys. Jason Tatum is a monster.
Yes.
Kemba Walker is perfect in the situation.
Yep.
Jaylen Brown could be an all-star for almost any other team. And Gordon Hayward is back to being Gordon Hayward.
Yes.
The Celtics have everything, and Brad Stevens can coach one of the best after timeout guys in the entire league.
Yes, he is.
Both of them are contenders. The longer you stay away from Milwaukee, the better.
So you think Milwaukee can actually get over the hump this time?
There's one team, and I'll say, I know you might think it'd be crazy, that should scare the Milwaukee Bucks in the playoffs.
And that team
without
is?
Looking at the top brackets. The Indiana Pacers.
Yes. Yes. If
Victor Oladipo rounds into form, you have Malcolm Brogdon, who was basically given away by the Bucks.
Yeah.
And there's nothing better than a playoff series than a guy who has motivation. We've seen this in every sport possible. The weakness of the Milwaukee Bucks, ironically, is their $18 to $20 million a year point guard Eric Bledsoe.
Right.
Bledsoe has been eaten alive in the playoffs by point guards the last couple of years. How did Terry Rozier get a $58 million deal from Charlotte? Go back to 2 years ago when Kyrie Irving was hurt and Rozier became Scary Terry in that Bucks series.
Yep. Yep.
Eric Bledsoe's a very good point guard, but he gets eaten alive in the playoffs.
That he does.
It happens.
That
and you have Malcolm Brogdon. You have Oladipo. You have T.J. Warren. Because when T.J. Warren scores over 20 points, I think the Pacers 17-3 this year. I want to say. Well, I think I wrote about it on the website. They have Sabonis, who was an All-Star. Miles Turner, who's one of the better rim protection in the league, and don't forget about Aaron Holiday and Jeremy Lamb.
Right.
The Pacers can give the Bucks all types of fits.
Yep, they can give them the blues. They can really give the Bucks the blues.
They're dangerous.
Yeah.
But Oladipo has to round the form. Oladipo has not shot the ball very well. He's relying too much on that 3-point shot.
Yeah.
He's got to get his mind. And I know it's difficult coming off that injury. It's been 12 months. He's going to have to get his aggression back. We got 6 weeks.
Yeah.
If he gets that aggression back by early April, and the Pacers can get out of round one with a second round matchup with the Bucks,
it's on and popping. It's on and popping with Indiana, and I'm really pulling for the Indiana Pacers. I got quite a few reasons. A lot of them are old school reasons, but I'm really pulling for the Indiana Pacers. Final question on the Eastern Conference: Who gets that number 8 spot?
The question is, who really wants the 8 spot? If you look at because here's the thing, I was writing about it on the website so you're down to about maybe 3 or 4 teams in that 7-8 fight. Okay, Brooklyn's got the advantage. Orlando's at 8. Orlando's 3 games in front of Washington, who's also right in front of Chicago.
Yes.
The thing is, Orlando has one of the easier schedules down the stretch.
Right.
The problem with Orlando is that Evan Fournier has been really good. Vucevic is pretty much doing the same thing as he did last year, but Terrence Ross is still playing from 2 years ago.
Right.
This is not the same Terrence Ross that was finding and hitting everything.
Yes.
Markelle Fultz has been better than advertised.
Mm-hmm.
The Magic don't have their best defensive player. Their 2 best defensive players are out the rest of the season. There's no more Jonathan Isaac the rest of the year. Don't expect him to come back. Al-Farouq Amino's been out since November.
Yeah.
The Magic right now are playing a situation where Aaron Gordon is playing basically power forward, and they're going to have to start James Ennis because Wes Iwundu and whoever they put at small forward is not working because you have to keep Ross coming off the bench because you're running out of firepower. On top of that, the Washington Wizards, ironically, have a good chance of making the playoffs. But if you're the Wizards, do you really want to make the playoffs? The Wizards, they're 3 games behind the Magic.
You mean the Washington Bullets or Wizards?
Listen, the team that used to play in Landover. That's yes. There's 3 games. There's 3 games behind the Orlando Magic right now for the 8th spot in the playoffs.
You touched my heart with that statement. You touched my heart with that statement. Bringing up the old Capitol Center.
Yes, the old Capitol Center with the old Bullets jerseys, watching Rasheed Wallace and Chris Webber play together. That's
Rasheed Wallace, Chris Webber, where John Thompson would roam when he coached Georgetown.
Yes. But to be honest with you, got Bradley Beal, who's still mad about making the All-Star team, averaging 29 points a game. Davis Bertans has basically proven the fact of he's more than just a system player in San Antonio. Mm-hmm. He's one of the best 3-point shooters in the league. Rui Hachimura has played really well. Thomas Bryant. They've gotten guys who can play the game. Washington could sneak in if Orlando can't find ways to score the basketball.
True.
Orlando's the worst scoring team in the NBA.
Yep.
The thing is, and the one thing that Steve Clifford hang his hat on was defense. The Magic's defense is not the same as it was last year. They have to go on a run. The other team that's in the race is the Chicago Bulls, ironically. I know you're all hometown Chicago Bulls.
Yep.
As bad as the defense has been, as many injuries the Bulls have, they're within 5 games of the Magic. Okay, you can't.
And they can get on a run. They have the tool. It's just the Bulls have been. Help. Yeah, they got to get some help. They got to get some help. It's the Bulls have been so beat up. Yeah, they've been so beat up this part of the season up until the All-Star break. Oh my goodness!
I think Carter's missed 20 games. Marquez missed about 10. They're without Chris Dunn. Otto Porter's been gone since like the 10th game of the season. So they've missed a lot of guys this year.
Yeah, they have.
Now, and here's the thing. Chicago, Washington, is it really worth potentially losing a top 5 pick? Because the way the lottery set up last year, you can finish anywhere and end up potentially high with a high draft choice. Is it worth it to go on a run and become a first-round snack once again for the Milwaukee Bucks? I think it's going to be Brooklyn. I think it's going to be Orlando.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't shock me if Washington caught Orlando, because outside of Chicago, the rest of the teams in the East aren't going to do much damage because Clint Capella is going to be out for an extended period of time in Atlanta. And there's a dumpster fire going on in New York, a dumpster fire going on in Cleveland, and a dumpster fire going on in Detroit. And Charlotte, Charlotte can't seem to get themselves out the way of the fourth quarter. They play good for 3 quarters, but somehow can't keep things together in the fourth quarter, and they're not consistent. So that's your Eastern Conference pretty much in a nutshell.
And Zach LaVine beat them with a buzzer beater in Charlotte earlier this year.
Yeah, but that's also the same game that the Hornets had a 10-point lead with 4 minutes left in the game. They're used to it.
Oh, they had a 10-point lead with 65 seconds left. They had a 10-point lead in that game against the Bulls with 65 seconds left, and the Bulls caught them and passed them, thanks to Zach LaVine.
Zach LaVine turned to Reggie Miller. I understand. I'm a diehard Hornets fan when I'm not covering the league. It is what it is. I'm used to it.
I love it. All right, let's go to the Western Conference, and I'll begin with this question. And it's a question that people hate asking. Hell, people at work hate me asking this question, but it's a true one that needs to be posed. Do the Lakers have enough to get to the Western Conference Finals, let alone the World Championship Series?
Yes, they have even with the point guard situation not being where it is, and the Lakers not having a consistent outside threat on that scares you. The fact of LeBron James and Anthony Davis, let's just say they're the best duo in the league. I mean, even better than the duo that shares the same building. The only difference is that the Lakers need Kyle Kuzma to do something and find himself. The Lakers do have they do have a wild card. DeMarcus Cousins is back practicing and getting himself in shape with a potential return in April. If DeMarcus Cousins can come back in some shape or form, he's not playing heavy minutes. Dwight Howard's been playing well, and they have JaVale McGee. But Cousins gives them another weapon. The Lakers better hope they can find somebody in the next 12 days that can either help the point guard situation or find a long-range shooter. Maybe a J.R. Smith, maybe Dion Waiters. I know those aren't really, really scary full names, but it's just depth.
I'm sorry.
The Lakers need all the help they can get.
You had me laughing mentioning J.R. Smith. The last time he played with LeBron was 2018, and we know how that turned out.
Listen, but J.R. Smith provides something the Lakers do not have enough consistency of. Is a guy who can knock. I mean, as much as we laugh at J.R. Smith for the timeout, and we laugh at other things J.R. Smith does off the court, wearing no shirt on a regular basis, that's fine. But when J.R. Smith is dialed in and he's actually on the court, J.R. Smith is a lightning rod. When he hits a jump shot or two, he's one of the more dangerous shooters in the league. I'll be honest with you. If I'm the Lakers and can't find a point guard, there's one sitting in Seattle right now that is clamoring for a job. His name is Jamal Crawford.
Yeah.
Someone needs to go make that phone call.
Somebody needs.
I still think they're the favorites to win the whole thing. Actually,
somebody needs to make a phone call and say, "Hey, bring back the Seattle SuperSonics." But then I digress. Who gets?
Yeah, they gotta go get the arena first.
Yeah, I know. Quit reminding me of that. Just let me dream for a couple of moments about the return of the Seattle SuperSonics. Who's the Lakers snack in the first round? Who gets that number 8 spot? Who becomes a snack for the Lakers in the first round of the West playoffs?
I don't know if it's a snack because the Memphis Grizzlies are really good.
Yeah, that they are.
But the Portland Trail Blazers are starting to get their health back. Yusuf Nurkic and Zach Collins are due back sometime in the first couple days of March. If the Blazers get those two guys back, it's going to basically strengthen a rotation that's very thin outside of Hassan Whiteside.
Yep.
You get Collins back, you get Nurkic back. Even if they're not playing heavy minutes, the fact of it's able bodies.
Mm-hmm.
We all know how dangerous Damian Lillard is.
Yes.
And CJ McCollum.
And they've missed Nurkic. They have missed Nurkic.
Even though Whiteside's been really good, better than advertised.
Yeah.
They're not very deep on that front line. They had to use Kyle Levinson. They've had time to use rookie Nazir Little at that 4 position. Carmelo Anthony played a lot before. He played really well.
Yeah.
The thing is, without Zach Collins on the floor to grab rebounds and hit jump shots, and Nurkic being able to be a bully in the paint, you put Nurkic and you put Whiteside together as a duo.
Yeah.
Collins and you have Carmelo at the 4.
Mm-hmm.
The Blazers become much deeper. They acquired Ariza I think they got Ariza as well too.
Yeah.
The Blazers are starting to get home. if they're within 5 games, within 3 or 4 games of the Grizzlies, they can make a run at this because Damian Lillard is the difference between the Blazers and the Grizzlies. That as good as Ja Morant is, he's not a superstar. Damian Lillard is. There becomes the difference.
Yeah, there is a difference.
Also, don't sleep on the New Orleans Pelicans. They're 5 games out, but the Pelicans are getting healthy. But
how far can Zion carry them? There's my question. My question lies with Zion. How far can he carry them?
I think Zion is not about the fact Zion carry them. It's how much can Brandon Ingram carry and Drew Holiday carry them.
Gotcha.
Zion's going to be that guy, but Brandon Ingram's an all-star. Drew Holiday was considered to be an all-star. The Pelicans have a lot of things to concern themselves with, but one thing you have to realize is that, and I know, Snowman, you're all about numbers. You're all about trends.
You know how I am.
The Pelicans are going to have to start winning games, but here's a magical number for the Memphis Grizzlies. It's the number 20. The Grizzlies are 17-1 when Dylan Brooks scores 20 or more points in the game.
Really?
They have beaten the Rockets. They've beaten the Jazz. They've beaten Denver, and they've beaten the Clippers this season when Dylan Brooks has scored 20 points. If he gets 20 points down the stretch, like the old saying, law is law, it's wrap. Like when the Clippers get to 100, first team gets to 100, it's a wrap.
Okay.
If Brooks gets to 20, by rule, the Grizzlies are almost unstoppable. And that's the thing. As long as Dylan Brooks is scoring, the Grizzlies will maintain 8, but Damian Lillard is too dangerous. So I need to know when Nurkic and Collins is coming back. If it's early March, then I think the Blazers got a shot at this. But otherwise, it's Memphis is going to be a first-round opponent for the Lakers.
Last question. How big of a dumpster fire is it in Houston?
Houston's not a dumpster fire. And I'll tell you this for the reason being. When they acquired DeMarre Carroll and they acquired Jeff Green within the last 48 hours, it's now to the point where I wrote it, and my article's coming out tomorrow about this. It's about, okay, who's the backup center? Because PJ Tucker is a starting center right now. The backup center right now, I guess, is going to be, Jeff Green is going to be DeMarre Carroll. I don't think they're going to dust off Tyson Chandler, and Hartstein is not going to make much of a difference in the playoffs. Yes, it's going to hurt they didn't go get somebody with a little bit more size. It wouldn't shock me if they went and got Kenny Freed over the next 10 days to do something. It's not a dumpster fire because the problem is, for every team in the West, with the exception of the Dallas Mavericks, who is going to be able to outshoot the Houston Rockets in the playoff series? Especially if they're hitting shots. If Harden and Gordon and Covington, if they're all hitting shots, Austin Rivers. I'm even saying Austin Rivers in this. I'm really scaring myself. You have all these guys hitting shots. There's only one team.
Yeah, you know how you scared yourself? You said if. You said if. But you put the words if and Rockets in the same sentence.
Listen, we've seen more interesting groups with the Rockets before, and they've gotten deep in the playoffs.
True.
The Rockets get the right matchup. Let's say they end up with Utah in round 1. They can outshoot the Jazz in round 1. Because the thing is, if you're spreading the floor, that means you're not really trying to deal with Rudy Gobert, which takes away the Jazz's best weapon on defense. That means you're making Donovan Mitchell and Joe Ingles and those guys have to defend on the perimeter and deal with James Harden. You can beat the Jazz in the first round series. Okay, yeah, let's just say you end up with Dallas in the first round.
Right.
Dallas is the only team in the NBA that can shoot with the Rockets. Dallas is the NBA's best 3-point shooting team. Mm-hmm. They have 4 guys that average over 2 3-pointers made a game. Mm-hmm. You got 4 of them. Okay, that's a different matchup. Can they beat a team like Denver in the playoffs? Unless Gary Harris can find himself, Denver can't go past. Gary Harris has been bad this year.
Yeah, he has.
Denver has every other piece to be a team in the finals. You have an all-around stud at center. You have a lead guard that's not scared of the moment. Jamal Murray, we saw him in the playoffs last year. Mm-hmm. He took his game to another level. You have veterans who are interchangeable that do the little things, and Paul Millsap and Jeremy Grant and Plumlee. You got you have a Human Torch off the bench and Will Barton.
Right.
The only thing they're missing is Gary Harris is one of the best defenders in the league.
Mm-hmm.
Gary Harris has to hit shots.
True.
If he's hitting shots, then Denver is dangerous in the playoffs. They can beat the Clippers. They can beat the Lakers in the playoff series. But Gary Harris has to hit shots.
Yeah. And
that's going to be the difference between Denver making the finals and being eliminated. But yeah, the team, like I said, I'm looking forward to in the playoffs. I want to see what Luka does in Dallas, but that's another story for another
day. We'll talk Luka next time. Man, thank you so much for coming on to the program. This is Danny Thompson. Check him out, folks, Around the Association podcast and Beyond the Buzzer. And I think I'm going to have to throw my spider webs and yank him in each week for some more NBA conversation. If he's interested, I'd love to have you, man. I would love to have you.
Oh, we'll get the schedule together, brother. It's all right.
We will. We will get it together. Thanks a lot, my man. Appreciate the time.
Always.
Well, there's more coming up in a flash.
This is Snowman in the Morning, where true sports talk lives.
He did what?
I did not need to be told that.
Down the stretch we come on the Friday edition of Snowman in the Morning. I want to thank you, fans who have tuned us in, and courtesy of my man Cole Johnson, who hosts on The Daily that precedes this show on the RTF Sports Network. You're going to love the next segment I have from him because, simply put, it is
Processual confession time. Here we go. In a world where partial greatness is celebrated and total greatness is shunned, there stands to be a figure on the lips of those who love him and those who hate him. The inane comparisons to Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant continue and has existed since 2003. There is no end in sight, for the battle between those who unconditionally love and unconditionally hate him wages on. These are their stories. Welcome to the Bronzexual Confessions. LeBron shined bright in All-Star Weekend and All-Star Game itself. He took his team to a 157-155 win over the Team Giannis squad. He didn't come away with the first ever Kobe Bryant MVP award. That went to his crosstown rival, Clippers' own Kawhi Leonard. That out the way. There was an interesting story published in The Athletic about LeBron James's eating habits, courtesy of the center for the Cavaliers, Tristan Thompson. So he wanted to provide some insight as to how LeBron James is like off the court. And he talked about his eating habits, and he went on to describe it as this way. Quote, he has the worst freaking diet ever. Ask him what he eats for breakfast. He has like 5 French toasts, drowns it in syrup with strawberries and bananas. Then he has like 4 egg omelet, and then he goes and freaking dunks on everybody. It doesn't make sense. He eats desserts with every meal. He'll come with his 1 week diet vegan crap, but he literally eats it like it doesn't make sense. He's really a specimen. He eats like crap. I remember one year I tried to eat like he ate, and it just didn't work out. I started to gain weight, and I said, forget this. I mean, if it works for him, it works for him. He loves sweets. He loves sweets. He eats desserts and French toast. It's crazy how his body just burns it. Close quote. Son, Tristan, it's better that he eats French toast than the diet that you eat, which is nothing more than illicit vaginas. Forget focusing on your ex-teammate. Focus on the fact that you're taller than how many rebounds you have gotten in your entire career. Let's focus on that. Oh, I'm sorry. this is LeBron territory. Let's steer off of talking about another player. So, of course, we had this scandal in Major League Baseball. I don't know if you've heard it. Yes, Astros scum, Astros bad, yes, all that type of crap. Well, LeBron wanted to make sure that he got in his 2 cents as well. So he took to Twitter, like the President of the United States does, and he went ham on Major League Baseball, and in particular, the commissioner, Rob Manfred. Quote, listen, I know I don't play baseball, but I am in sports. And I know if someone cheated me out of winning the title and I found out about it, I'd be freaking irate. I mean, like uncontrollable about what I would and could do. Listen here, baseball commissioner. Listen to your players speaking today about how disgusted, mad, hurt, broken, etc., about this. Literally, the baseball emoji, is in your court, or should I say field, and you need to fix this for the sake of sports. Hashtag, just my thoughts coming from a sports junkie regarding my own sports play. Close quote. Now, I can hear my man Brian Snow now talk about the stimulus package that LeBron himself received 4 years prior. And he, to this day, will talk about how he felt the 2016 Warriors was cheated out of a world championship. And LeBron doesn't talk ill about that or doesn't talk against that. There, Brian, I did your job on that. But I digress. And I kid as well. So let me quickly touch on this. This is why I say basically baseball, that you have a spotlight on you that you haven't had in a long time. You're having people who are outside the sport, people who have a bigger reach than any of your baseball players do. And they're talking about this. This is the time where you have to put your best foot forward. And if you can do that right now, you have LeBron James calling you out. You got to shine now. But I laugh at this because this is the most hilarious part. My man Brian Snow had a conversation with a brown sexual. And so I have this brought to my attention, and he said the brown sexual said to him, quote, Braun is greater than Kobe, is greater than MJ. Close quote. Quite frankly, it should be the opposite. MJ greater than Kobe, greater than Braun. You should be ashamed of yourself in saying something so blasphemous. However, I had a conversation with a brown sexual, and this is how sick, how insidious this disease is. So it was a post on Facebook, and it was a picture. But the picture was not of LeBron, and it was not of a Laker. No, it was a picture of former Pistons guard Reggie Jackson, who now has been picked up by the Clippers. Well, this bronze sexual said the following. Quote, why is everybody so Hades bent on stopping LeBron from winning championships? Golden State couldn't beat him and had to enlist the services of KD. Now the Clippers are trying to, I do love the spelling of trying to, Tryina. Now the Clippers are trying to stack the decks against him. The Knicks didn't add Mitch Richmond. The Jazz didn't add Shaq. The Supersonics didn't add Kendall Gill. This is why Bron's the GOAT. Close quote. Nah, son. And there's also news of the fact that LeBron James is going to give 200 free scholarships to students who are going to attend Kent State. My response to that, quote, LeBron, a great philanthropist off the court. He ain't never gonna be the GOAT on it. Close quote. Look, bronsexual, this is a disease that's insidious, and I actually studied on parasitical behavior. Loving on LeBron seems to be like a parasite just enters into you. It's as if reason and rationale leaves your body. Quit leaving rationale off of your conversations. A guy is picking a team up so they can win, period. They want to improve their team. Reggie Jackson got picked up by the Clippers because they want to improve their team. They aren't giving a crap about LeBron. And as a matter of fact, the defending champ is not LeBron. As another matter of fact, LeBron didn't even make the playoffs last year. You remember he activated playoff mode around not quite this time last year, but like February 27th or 28th. And you remember 1 month later, they shut him down because the playoff activation mode had them going home early. The Raptors are the defending world champs. Now, if you were to say that, then I'd say, okay, you might have a shot. That might make some sense. I could see how, okay, this move might be to counter something that the Raptors have done because they should be the measuring stick. Not a team that has failed to make the playoffs in the last 7 years. The last year with LeBron. So, stop with these insane and inane comparisons. The fact that you want a guy who you compare him and you say that he's better than someone like a Jordan, where you have one guy who has won 6 championships and you have one guy who's lost 6 of them. Yet you call the guy who has lost 6 championships greater. And I'll continue to say this till the cow comes home. One guy has 6 times to romance a woman, and one guy has 9. So the woman walks out of the hotel room happy all 6 times. Meanwhile, the woman who had 9 times with this guy only walks away from that hotel room happy 3. Who do you think people want more? The one who closes the deal 6 times or the one who only closes the deal 3? And you can say that I'll even give you this year. One who closes the deal 6 times or the one who closes the deal 4? Stop being petty with your comparisons. And if you're going to throw rings at me, it's not even that anymore. It's just the fact that people just simply look at one person and say, that's it. You don't take the totality of it all and view all of what is to be compared. Because unlike most people who will give him top 5, I barely give LeBron top 10 all time. And I stand on that. And that's not hate. That's not love either. That's just fact. And you can take that and do what you will with it. But having a picture of a man, another player that has nothing to do with LeBron, but you tie him in with LeBron, it just shows how sick you bronzesexuals are. Unreal. In a world where contradiction and hypocrisy exist, lies the truth to set us all free. Here is where we all get enlightened. This has been yet another installment of The Bronzesexual Confessions.
I absolutely love it. This is an issue that should not have been an issue in the first place. And I'll piggyback on the message to the bronzesexual fan. Let me pluralize that. Fans. First of all, thank you, Cole Johnson, for allowing me to have this segment on my show. Second of all, how the hell, how in the Vita Blue, yellow-bellied, red-blooded hell are you going to put LeBron over Kobe over MJ? See, the way I see it in that equation, 6 titles is greater than 5 is greater than 3. Okay? Okay. Now then, 6 world championship losses is greater than 3 is greater than 0. And Michael never lost a world championship series. Did y'all forget that? Did y'all forget the fact that Michael went 6 for 6 in the world championship series? I borrow from Magic Johnson, who said, and I quote, Michael Jordan's the greatest player. Bill Russell's the greatest winner. I can't argue with that. Now, was I alive before? No, was I alive during the Bill Russell era? No, but I've done a hell of a lot of research. And Bill Russell was that man. 11 titles in 13 attempts. I'll have that before I have anything that LeBron James has done or will do. Let me say that again. I'll have that. The 11 titles in 13 attempts, the 6 titles in 6 attempts, 7 titles for Robert Horry. Casey Jones has it. I'll take all of those before anything that LeBron has done. Period. Period. And on top of that, I'll take this. Stephen Curry has 3 titles in 6 years. LeBron has 3 in 9. You don't realize that, do you? Bronzesexual. No, you don't. And it's obvious that you don't. And what's really bad, people still continue to place LeBron above MJ. The hell are you doing that for? Lord have mercy. I just don't get it. I really just don't get it. That'll do it for this Friday edition of Snowman in the Morning. I'm going to use a little NBA on NBC to close things out. For those of you listening on the RTF Sports Network, rtfsportsnetwork.com, and all of our great stations that syndicate the shows across the country, Just for Clicks is next, followed by The Assist and more of me with the Daily BS and Loyal BBN Fan at 4 p.m. Eastern. Thank you to the folks at the RTF Sports Network, as well as full press coverage, as well as KSRN Arizona. I want to thank everybody that has tuned us in on all of our great networks across the country, in the region, across the nation, and around the world. As I love to say, follow the RTF Sports Network at rtfsportsnetwork.com. Follow full press coverage at fullpresscoverage.com. And also, we are now in the Phoenix, Arizona market. Follow us there at ksrnaz.com. Till Monday, have a great weekend. God bless. Remember to make your next move your best move. And always remember, if your dreams don't scare you, then they are not big enough. Dream big, do bigger. I am, and I hope y'all are too. Until Monday, Snowman's out of here. Have a great one, folks.